Give us a countdown when you get there.
Oh,
Hello and welcome! This is Appalachian Dragons, where me and my favorite backwoods bastards get together and we like to play some Dungeons and Motherfucking Dragons!
Dungeons and
Dragons!
Dragons!
We are so happy to have you here for episode 2, Shriekwood. We have a lot going on right now. We've got some music that's being put out to Spotify. Brandon's been dropping some incredible tracks on there. We're working to get a revised session 1 for both Storm King's Thunder and Tyranny of Flagons, just because right now it's in little segments and we'd like to have one cohesive video for you guys. So we're working on that and should be done with that soon. Before we dive in, we're going to go through just a quick recap of what happened last week. Uh, Last week, we found Pandora and Arcanox within Skullport. Pandora, now the pirate ruler of this Underdark city, and Arcanox dueling. I very much like to imagine like Super Saiyan style with Tajin within the 5 pillars of woe. When they were summoned by the Storm King, a thunderous boom echoed throughout the cavern and told them that he had grave and urgent news to discuss with them. They quickly awayed onto the Crimson Inferno, the massive ship on the back of the Dragon Turtle, which guided them out through the subaquatic tunnels and through to the city of Maelstrom, the Storm King's capital. There they met with King Hegaton and Princess Sarissa, where they learned that an item had been discovered that they believed belonged to Imarith, uh, who disguised herself as an advisor of the Storm King for quite some time. They weren't sure exactly what it was or what it contained, but knew that it probably wasn't good news. Something that she wanted to keep this close to the chest was something to be wary of. Uh, However, the symbol was written in a very ancient form of Draconic, and while Tajin and Arcanox had tried to decipher it, we weren't able to get too much. However, their good friend Vikura, formerly known as Z, had been quite instrumental in the deciphering of the Nightstone, which was written in the same ancient Draconic. So they thought, hey, he'll know. We cut away from that to find Gulbrand, free falling through the skies above the high forest and the star mounts, locked into battle with a rock. After a bitter entanglement, we saw him cleave off the wing, and both of them plummet to their deaths. We then proceeded to go to Davos, where we found him enjoying a game with his daughter, as well as a nice home cooked meal from his wife Helena. Unexpected visitor. Bergen had arrived to tell them that he was a little concerned about some of the knights that they had sent out. Bergen being the head of the order, excuse me, the Order of Helm's Hold, as well as Davos being the leader of the Order of the Aster. The two thought their combined troops should have been more than enough to handle the particular issue they were having, and yet they were not able to contact them, not able to locate them magically, which led Bergen to be very concerned. He asked Davos to look into this, but he didn't want him to do it alone, and suggested getting together some of their old friends. At exactly this time, Pandora and Tajin and uh, Arcanox swoop into action and arrive and say that they have some business with Z, and Davos, with his crystal ball, could help locate him. They did scry in on their old friend to find, after he had absorbed the spirit of this deadwood treant that was sort of caught in a state between perpetually trying to regenerate and grow while being burned away and eaten at the same time, needed some relief, and Z was happy to provide that. V was happy to provide that, as is his custom. The two proceeded, at the words of the Trent Hawthorne, to head northward, and when they arrived, found a eerie, white, semi-serpentine figure, the head of a dragon, but more with like a hood, like a cobra, that was very unusual. Not a dragonborn, for his arms were flesh and pale, but it seemed something that wasn't entirely human either. After trying to interact with this entity, who seemed rather dismissive of him, the entity completed whatever it was working on and brought into the area a pit fiend, a very powerful devil from the Nine Hells. Vikura and Tabitha engaged in a battle that was rather lethal, almost costing Tabitha her life as this entity's foul poison worked its way through her system. And upon finally weakening it to the states to where they could banish it, the serpentine figure who had glided away after dismissing them turned on its heels to sort of assess this, what he initially assumed as insignificant pair of adventurers. And seeing as Tabitha, in her great injured state, chose instead to provide healing to Vicora, who was in better shape than her, seeing this connection, uh, thought it only fitting to do the cruelest thing he could in the moment, and simply performed power word kill, ending Vicora. At that exact moment, Davos's crystal ball stopped functioning as his time had expired, and we zoomed back out to the town of New Orlebar, where quad- the four adventurers and Tajin were very eager to find out what was happening, how they can help. But they knew they couldn't go in it alone. So, with very quickly loading up onto the West Wind Wyvern, they headed out to find Gullbrand, only to arrive to find the Blue Bears in the middle of a eulogy. Fearing their friend dead, they were pleasantly surprised, in a sort of bittersweet sort of way, to find that it was not their dear friend Gullbrand who had passed, but instead the Blue Bear chief, Hideous, who was Gullbrand's partner. While this was sad in itself, they were thankful their friend was not the one on the pyre, and they were quick to try to convince him to join them. He was a little reluctant, as he was now a more important figure in his tribe, trying to help his own daughter, the new chief, to lead her people. And with some persuasion from Davos and the party, convinced another one of his children, Gideon, as well as his partner Kaya, to rejoin them on the ship and make their way to the Shriekwood and see if they could find whatever was causing this hellish havoc within its hallowed wood. Where we last left off, the adventurers were en route on the West Wind Wyvern. And that, my friends, is where we're going to pick up tonight in Tyranny of Flagons! And we're back. The party is currently gathered on the deck of the West Wind Wyvern, this powerful airship, the front of which is a silver dragon carved into a horn that allows it to release a bellow to announce its draconic presence, uh, with a very experienced crew aboard. Uh, when we last left, we were in the discussion of whether or not Golbrand wanted to try to read the stars and see if he could ascertain any information from them. His son Gideon, also being capable of this, offered to do this for his father so that his father could be at his fighting best. Did you have a preference on which one of you does this?
Will we have a long rest before we get there?
So it was a little over a day's travel to get there. This long rest now will be the only one you get before you arrive, more likely than not.
So if I use a spell afterwards, will I have that spell or not?
If you use a spell afterwards, it will count against your total for the day, probably.
Interesting.
Well, if
Um.
you do it, well, yeah, because it interrupts your long rest in a way.
Okay. We'll go ahead and let Gideon do it. No, I'll hit him with that greater
Uh,
restoration when I
Gul-
get back.
Gulbrand passes the axe to his son. This axe, which is from the first Starkeeper, Arvandil, and allows him to more clearly see through the stars without taking as much of a harsh effect. Is there anything in particular you guide Gideon into seeing?
Wilbrand will tell him, when he hands him the axe, he'll say, "If this really is a major threat. It probably pertains to whatever it is they were fighting with Goth Vicora. I would do your best to search for uh, threats from beyond these plains.
Hmm, very wise advice from perhaps the wisest man in the party. I think you are wisdom based, being the highest one here. With that in mind, I think he's going to take, what do we say, 3 hits. He's going to take 4. In this way, he won't have the bumped uh, the damage of exhaustion. We watch as Gideon takes out this finely ground powder, very blood red in nature, but it is plant based, almost looking like a curry powder or a cayenne. Um, and as he inhales a great deal of this, it is a matter of mere minutes before his eyes sort of roll back into his head. And on this meditative stance on the airship, we do see him lose himself in the process. Several hours pass before Gideon finally calms down, and I'm going to roll for him. Because he took 4, he's going to roll with advantage plus 4. So I'm going to roll this twice. That's a 2, so let's hope he does better on the second. And an 11. So with the plus 4, that's actually a 15. That's not too terrible. Seeking specifically for threats beyond the veil, Gideon reports several things. The first and most prominent, while trying to focus on Vicora, is, unsurprisingly, not within the Shriekwood itself. Uh, he describes a keep on the cliffs of a mountain range. Uh, this heavily fortified, heavily defended location that is crawling with undead forces. Things he couldn't quite recognize or name, as they were not your typical, zombies or skeletons or ghouls. Things that were very unusual. On a 15, I would say he even describes hearing the cries of an entity in a language that he did not understand, but that sounded to him uh, almost as if a combination of bells and horns and this musicality to it that he could not decipher. Something that seemed to be crying for help. In another flash of his vision, he saw the cavernous tunnels of the Underdark, a sight not at all unfamiliar to him, as he had helped Valkyr in freeing of slaves from Menzo Bernanzan. Uh, he was unable to identify a location specifically, but had seen ettercaps and spiders and these similar types of enemies gathering in mass. His last flash of vision on a 15 is going to be of a dark scaled figure, winged, that he initially mistook for Arcanox, but the shape wasn't quite right. Uh, he describes this with uh, a bit of unsteadiness in his voice, a bit of fear. This entity that exuded such great power and presence that though it was a dragonborn in appearance, that it seems to have the full frightening presence of a dragon. Uh, he relays all of this to you as he comes out of his stupor. And Kaya sets to providing him with water and a bit of food. And you know what? I'll roll for it. With an 8, he does toss cookies. He leans over the ship and vomits. For while starkeeping may be something that he has done for many years now, it is still very rough on your body. As he provides you this information, have a moment to discuss it if you so choose.
Does he get all this out before he tosses cookies?
Yeah, I will say so. Yeah.
I think that Goldbrand like pats him on the back like as he's throwing up. Um, he was gonna ask him what he thought about it as like a test of his wisdom, but while he's tossing cookies, he'll kind of turn. And he'll say, "That does sound a little forebodings." Um, I'm assuming they all heard that. The whole group did.
Yes, he reported this to everyone.
Do
Say,
either of you heard of a black dragon born, or perhaps black dragon in the Underdarks?
You will specify this last one was not within the Underdark itself.
Okay.
It was the third vision.
Ever heard of that fuckers? Any of yous?
in the back of the group, Arcanox is kind of on the railing of the ship, and he's kind of almost anxiously like picking at the railing, and he's like, "There's only one black dragonborn I know that matches the description, but it's impossible. He's been long dead."
It sounds a little bit from the rest of his visions that dead does not mean stay dead for a lot of things. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but doesn't sound good. How do you know this? Warriors? Gobran's ask.
If it is who I think it is, the discovery of this chest in the ice giant palace, I forgot what it's called. Maelstrom, that's it.
Maelstrom, yeah.
Storm.
I just really hope it's not connected. As you know, in the Crimson Inferno, us Draconic pirates have a tradition of sending our best and strongest out to find their own destiny. There was one dragonborn we sent. His name was Urberus. And fellas, this is the only warrior I have ever felt fear around.
I like to think Golbrand opens his mouth to make a snarky comment, kind of registers what that means, and then goes, "Well, fucks. I thought he was supposed to be dead. Did you see the bodies?"
We never saw the body. Captain Dynamite. Urberus was a fine warrior. He was one of the strongest we have ever had. But he was reckless. There was a darkness within him that the captain did not trust him with. So, as we all do, he went out and we never saw him again. Never saw a word. We didn't hear songs of his exploits like we normally do. There was silence. We were hoping that would be the end of it.
His eyebrows at Pandora. Is he telling fish stories again?
I think we lost you on that first bit. I think you said that.
Any story that he's telling with that earnest, I've seen him tell many stories, but his eyes are serious. I think he actually means this one.
Disapproving grunt.
This time,
will reach down and like pull Gideon up off the side of the rail, and I like to think he's like sets him down on his butt and he drops something in his lap. Like I like to think it's not the first time Gideon's seen this. Like I think he makes what I wouldn't want to call them. It's almost like a little. Well, yeah, I almost wanted to say bath bomb, but that's not how it would work. But it would be kind of packaged in that way where he could just drop it in his lap, and it is like a hangover cure, something to help him with the broken nasal passages and all the sore muscles in your face and the rest of your body and all that fun stuff.
The dry eyes, the dehydration.
Yeah,
I love that.
Like
plenty of electrolytes.
Yeah, he drops it in some water. Maybe it is like a bath bomb. Drops it in some water, and it's almost like a Vicks vapor rub. Like it makes his little face feel better. And he'll tell him after he drops it, say,
that's the most affection you've ever shown him. I just love that. Sorry, carry on.
I very much appreciate that. I know it's hard to look for death longs. I would tell you it gets easier, but then I would just be lying. He'll pat him on the shoulder, and he's gonna walk off grimly.
Gideon will nod and thank you for the remedy. Say a small price to pay for the wisdom it provides. And he will start to hold up the bowl that it's in and like look at you and start to sip, maybe not, should I just inhale it? Do I drink it? What the hell is this?
Drops it in the waters. Take the pack.
Oh, he has it in the water. He's got the little. He's sniffing the water. Do I drink it or do I?
Once he dropped it in the water, it would almost fizzle. I like to think almost like you put vinegar and baking soda together, and that would create the steam or whatever it is.
The vapor. I got
the vapor that's helping him out. Yeah. I like to think
He,
before he walks away, he's gonna be like, "Be prepared to tell me what you thought of your visions. 200 words apiece, please."
Homework
Singles
on
pick.
vacation. Gideon actually goes below deck. He's gonna rest and try to sleep off his side effects. Um, uh, and it is, as you guys have now broken dawn on the second day of your travel, uh, you see the Shriekwood come into full focus. And you've been by this location a time or two. You know, Archinox and Pandora, you guys have certainly flown over it as well. Uh, it provides, even in the bright of day, is so surreal. These gnarled, twisted branches that reach for the sun and clot out any traces of light, that forbidding them almost from reaching the floor of this what is not an ancient forest in literal years, but has that type of old growth within it. As you cross over, you find startlingly few landmarks. The entire skyline that you can see and observe from this place is choked out by these branches. And it's actually some time, I'd say it's pretty close to midday, before you actually hear Kaya from the lookout's nest call out that she has found a spot to land. It's a rare break in the dense canopy of twisting branches, and provides an alcove just large enough for a aerial vehicle to land. I'm going to switch you guys to a map of the Shriekwood.
Mhm.
Should be able to move. It should look mostly dark for you guys. Your tokens do provide light as you explore, so do me a favor and don't jump grand distances. I also think I've worked out the scale on this to where when we do get to any combat encounters, if you hit Q while you move your token, you should see about the right scale of movement.
I do not
Disregard the little squares on the map.
See, I do not see it.
You're in
Oh,
the
it should be on
far
the bottom
left.
left. Yeah.
I do not see any tokens. Oh?
On the bottom left.
Got you now.
Okay. Can all of you move your tokens? Sure, the four of you.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh, Brayden probably can't at work. On the phone.
That is correct. I cannot.
Okay. Okay, I can move yours for you. That's not a big deal. Not seem to be providing light though, which is rather unfortunate. Look at that real quick. There we go. Okay, yeah. All right. We are going to begin with the exploration portion. You guys are actually going to have to search your way through the Shriekwood and try to find signs of Vikora and Tabitha, and track them down. Josh, I do want to say I know you got a bit of time in the spotlight last week, which I think you handled excellently. You've got a little bit of a break this first bit, so
Good. I'll take a nap.
yeah, exactly. With that, this whole clearing is covered in very tall grasses. This being one of the few places that gets adequate sunlight throughout the day. It reaches up to your mid-thigh. As you reach the tree line, you notice, even as you're heading on this trail toward the east, that the branches seem to reach out and choke out that sunlight very quickly. Here, all light is dim light. There is no bright light naturally occurring. And I will have you guys, particularly you three, Barbara, Ben, and Devin, begin to lead the expedition.
does Gilbert have an idea roughly of how large the Shriekwood is?
It is the equivalent of I would say, I don't want to call it a 100-acre wood, but it is dozens of acres. It is fairly massive. I would even warrant to say several square miles. This is something that you and several other druids empowered. And on the scale of the map, to walk across it before would have taken more than a day. To do it now is now several days because it is so treacherous.
So I think you turn to the rest of the group, Gilbert, say, I have some things I think that can help us, that will give me a lay of the lands, as the children say. But they were deeper ends, right? It may not cover the whole wood. I would like to do it when we think we're a little closer, unless we think we're not far now.
It's difficult to say because you have no landmarks for where Z was. When you were scrying on Tabitha, you only got a very narrow periphery view of her, so you didn't really see too much that would bring it directly to your attention.
Let's go a little deeper in, and I can commune. Unless either of you are
Fantastic.
opposed.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, take it away, Gully.
Alright. Gorbran will
Come on.
sally forth. I guess that means I need to move the thing. Let's do. How much further can I go here? Interesting. Oh, what is this?
As you proceed to make your way from the clearing, it shifts from tall grasses to uneven stones, and you sort of begin to uncover what seems to have once been the town center. Now strewn with fallen branches and rotting beams. Feel free to explore as I narrate this. Dilapidated buildings line the square. Their once thatched roof is now caved with their with jagged half walls, forming almost nests of rot and decay. A former fountain, it's this thing up here, is now brimming with this dark putrid water. And you see that in the center there once was a statue, but now there are just two stone legs rising from this cesspool before breaking off just above the hip. Anyone who wants to can try to make a history check. And then Barb, you guys are welcome to explore up here as well.
I am waiting for the old Rosetta Stone to cooperate with me.
I got you.
I like to think Gorbran's walking around scratching his beard, wondering how they missed an entire town while they were regrowing the forest.
This wasn't something that you guys did. You didn't travel so much to do it as your collective influence reached for miles and miles and miles of what had been raised.
I got a +2 to history if y'all want me to try.
Nerd.
Not many people have positive intelligence scores, so you might have the highest.
Are these like footprints on the ground right here where I'm at?
They are indeed.
I got a
Barbara.
4 on
Uh,
the history.
Barbara, since you've discovered those, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay.
And one other person can as well, if you guys so choose.
Someone perceive with me. That's a 26.
26. Very excellent, Barbara. There's a
Meow.
few things that you notice of this place. You do find the bloody footprints on the eastern side of the center. They're dried now, but with the 26, you inspecting them closer reveals that they head from the east, so from further down the path that you're facing, and actually toward the center of town, where you see that the blood pools for just a moment, but then seems to have been staunched. With your 26, you also know that while there was somebody walking bloody footprints, there was another individual with them. As the bleeding stops, there is another pair of footprints that joins them and seems to head further northwest. It's more difficult to follow once the bleeding has stopped, but there'll be a chance to continue that. You also see that there's 3 primary pathways from here. I'm going to just drop Arcanox around just a little bit to show you how you can see. There is a pathway to the north, which with this particular check, you would see a large wooden, almost teepee-like structure that seems to be collapsed in on itself. To the northwest, you see the edges of a temple of some sorts, as well as an open well. And to the east, you can almost make out the very bare hints of a graveyard. I'll just pop you out here so you can get a visual on part of that. Not saying you actually travel that far, but that's just what you would get a glimpse of. Furthermore, with a 20, over a 25, in this dark pool here in the center, you see that one part of the water appears to be slightly lighter than the rest of it. For whatever that is worth.
Anyone want to go fishing?
What are you fishing for in the forest?
I mean, this water obviously looks like there's something up with it. Like, I mean, I feel like maybe we should check it out a little bit.
And once she points it out, Gobran, you too notice that there is while the water seems dark and putrid and black, there is a point where it seems slightly lighter than the area around it.
Can I drop a pebble in it?
Certainly.
Like,
yeah.
pick up like a loose brick or something.
Yeah, you throw something in there, and the water, once
And
it
just drop it
plunges
in
into the water,
the light part.
it does dispel sort of this murky ick that has built up on the top to a degree. It doesn't clear it, but it pushes it back enough. And you see that there is something within the water glowing. You can also make out, I mentioned earlier, the legs of the statue that was arising from this pool. You see that more of the statue is submerged.
This is the well in the center, right?
This right here is the fountain here. The well is on the northwestern.
Well, we're around the fountain. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't like that. I'm getting too old for this. Golbran will take... Can he use the scythe to try to, like... If he can't reach it, you know that he can't reach it. But if he can reach the object with the scythe just to bat it around...
Yeah, you, hockey puck it, just a bit, and, slapstick, and it does roll around. It appears to be a small object. I would say, size of a marble, a large marble, not the little tiny ones, but like the bigger round ones. Seems to be glowing. You move it, and it illuminates a little more of the statue. You could see the statue is of a man, a bearded man with a hat. It's a little difficult to make out the details through the water.
Ready your weapons. Man.
He says that, I'm gonna do it.
I
Ready
guess I
in
have
the
to
weapon.
go in to get it, because I don't... Oh! Can I thorn whip it?
This is a pretty small thing. I think doing that would require a pretty high roll. I'll give you the chance to, of course. However, trying to whip a marble out of water with, that fine, minute, with the actual trajectory to
Right.
knock it out of the water.
There's a goddamn wizard when you need one.
You said it's in water, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
For sure.
I have water walking. I can just walk over to it.
The fountain doesn't appear necessarily deep, but you would have to reach into the water to pull it out.
Yeah, that's the part I'm afraid of. Alright, I'm gonna try to thorn whip it just in case.
No one wants to stick their paws in
If you
murky
roll-
water.
Devin, roll an attack roll. You're going to have to roll pretty high. I'm going to say over a 20.
I rolled a 16.
In fact, the physics of like trying to like move a whip through the air and then continue its trajectory in water seem difficult enough. Find that the thorn, on a 16, I'll tell you, it wraps around the part of the statue. Like instead of getting the marble, you manage to anchor onto a part of that.
Alright, one of us is gonna have to reach in theirs, I guess. Rock, paper, scissors.
I'll go for it.
Yes.
You know what? I'll just go
Golbran,
for it.
we're ready. Golbran actually wants to like grab a hold of
Y'all
Ark.
have more constitution than I do.
I was about to say,
so,
Golbran wants to
you know.
grab a hold of Ark, a piece of his clothing, a piece of his armor. He wants to have a good grip on him.
Get him by the collar of his breastplate or something.
Or like a
Pauldron.
something wrapped around his waist, especially if he has a bunch of cloth.
Yeah, sure. You certainly wrap on, and Ark, you reach into the water. You easily pull the marble out, no check necessary. And it is a small, it almost looks like a cat's eye. This is a Lux stone. It is a small, not exceptionally powerful magical artifact. I can give you a +1 on, I believe, all saving throws. I will pull that open.
Oh,
Save-
that's pretty spicy.
+1 to ability checks and saving. It does require attunement, but if y'all want to add that to the bag of holding, or if anybody would like to claim it, you're welcome to.
Pandora's got grabby hands, but she's trying to be polite. She just
You
likes
should,
little
by the way.
shiny things.
I should mention this. You all should have 5 attunement slots. Because the way I rule it, the higher your proficiency bonus is, the more things you can attune to.
That makes
Seems
sense.
more fun that way. Alright. You guys have pulled it out. The water is no longer glowing. You may proceed as you see fit. See 3 potential pathways.
What did
And you
you,
two.
what did you find over there past the footprints?
There's a graveyard. I mean, it feels like a pretty good lead. I mean, that's exactly where I'd guess Z and V, whatever F, X letters.
Tabitha is into that
That's the
freaky
kind of.
shit.
I mean, there's
did the
bloody
light go
footprints in the graveyard. I feel like this is a good route over here. Good lead.
Let's go take a look. The blood could be theirs. I don't think we have a way to determine that, but I agree. Let's go take a look.
Well, you know the bloody footprints are heading out from the graveyard toward the city center.
We can check out
however
the
you can-
graveyards for. Oh,
No, for
I
sure.
see. From the graveyard to here. Yeah, no, I still agree with her. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Question, did
I
the
think we
shadows
should check
go
out
away for you
where
guys?
we came from first.
No, it's just shadowy.
I gotcha. Okay. On my end, for some reason, it changed, and I don't like it. Get the shadow. So you guys proceed down. Let me scoop it up, move it up, butthole. You find very, 1 second to get to the right section here.
We'll dab us along.
A small cemetery that once stood on just the edge of town, and it's seemingly been ravaged. You see heaps of dirt mounded and scattered about. And before we proceed much further in here, I would like all of you to roll a perception check. And depending on how you're proceeding, a stealth check.
I can make us quieters if we think that's necessary. I would sort of like to save it until we know there is mad shit about.
As we enter into this place, I need all of you to roll a d20. It's a flat d20. Don't roll a 1. Vince's favorite game, don't roll a 1.
Okay. A D20.
Yes, ma'am.
Need to roll my wheeler, whoa.
Arcanox, if I could get a d20 from you. Perfect.
Got 12.
Oh, I see it now. Okay. All right, none of you rolled a 1. So we're good. With with Goldbrand's 23 perception check, that's pretty stout. You see a few things. You see that this resting place is now a minefield of graves, many of which lie empty. You also see that on the northwestern side, of this forest bank, you see a small cave. It reeks of decay, and you have a bad feeling about getting too close to it. You also see, I'm sorry, did you guys decide to stealth in, or did you just walk in? What was
If y'all want me to stealth in, I can stealth in. Like, that's
Oh yeah,
little kitty softball here.
preferably.
As long as you're ready to rescue me if shit goes south.
You don't have to necessarily go in too far by yourself.
If that's okay with everybody.
Where is everybody positioning up while Barbara goes in for a little?
I do want to try. I guess I'll try to be back here. I want to stay where I can keep my eyes on her in case shit does go bad. So if that's here,
You can. So the footprints here sort of denote like a sort of ramp leading up into town. Not so much a ramp, just an incline. So this right here is a bit of a stone wall, with the graveyard being situated below the town, geographically, if that helps.
try and get there.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll my stealth then.
Yeah, go right ahead. I assume Arcanox. That was
That's a 34.
34. You feel fairly confident that nothing knows you. You make your way through, and you actually are going to be able to determine that this city was once the city of Zelbros. You find it marked. Lord Zelbros has a mausoleum here, tomb to be interred in. This is one of the many cities that Bane Darkwind had raised on her march, and yet was not rebuilt due in part to its new position. The people of Zelbros fled to Nightstone, Secumber, New Orlebar, and several other cities instead. Something you do see, Barbara, that is cause for concern is a writhing figure, indistinct in shape, and yet as it draws closer, you are able to see. I'm going to make it larger for you guys to see as well. Is that opaque or is that transparent for you guys?
It's kind of opaque, it looks like.
It is partially see-through.
That is annoying. That should not be
Okay.
like that. But you see this hulking figure composed of rotting bodies.
Ugh.
This thing moves its way about, almost like the bodies on the bottom are sort of crawling over each other as it glides forward. And then as it moves, the ones behind it being picked back up and added
That's
back
not
into the
kosher.
mound. It is indistinct in shape, and it absolutely the decay and the rot of this is
Which,
just
yeah,
setting all your hairs on end.
I would assume, Pandora with her heightened sense of smell being a tabaxi is absolutely like, nope, nope, nope,
Oh
nope.
yeah, you enjoy the hunt and killing things, but this is something that is long in this state of decay, and
Graveyard's
you also
haunted.
know this is in no way natural. This thing is this is not just a normal zombie or anything of that nature. This is something that something has brought into existence. I'm going to resize it back to its normalist size, right about there. It is a huge creature, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Pandora comes back instantly, like zoomies.
Zoomies back
That
in.
foreshadowing without context, that's right now. She kicking off the mausoleum.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Like, thank
And,
you so much.
no,
Yeah.
not
Tail
going down that way. Nope, nope,
Tail
nope.
swishing.
It
big eye.
is
Bottle
a
brush
huge
tail.
creature, and I will drop it in the VVT chat. You should be able to click on that and open it to make it bigger if you like. But it is a horrifying sight. Even those of you further away who chose to sit back, as Pandora is in the graveyard and it begins to shift, not seeming having noticed her presence, but just seeming to make a patrol, you are horrified. Stavos, you in particular, you had been to Zelbros in your travels when you lived in Oralbar. It was one of the neighboring cities. And to see this somewhere so close to home is extremely concerning for you. How do you guys choose to proceed, or where do you go?
Do something about that?
What do you think
Wait.
we're gonna do about that big hulking stinky thing?
Normally you burn bodies that haven't been buried.
Alright, who's got the fire?
Like,
Oh.
Gobrand looks around and then goes, "Ohs." Raises his hand. I don't have as much fire as our friends. Yeah, you breathe fires.
It's true.
It's
I
a
don't know,
place.
Yeah.
Do you want this thing gone, Dawnbringers?
I'm telling you, this thing's big, it's stinky, it's scary.
Yeah, we should probably take care of it. I'm just thinking this kind of rotting carcass probably stinks when burned. Anybody got a extra face mask?
Make sure you stand 6 feet from it.
Pull your shirt up.
About this time, you hear a very loud cry coming from deeper in the forest in that similar direction. It's difficult to describe. One part panther scream, one
Ooh.
part shriek, and it even carries with it sort of this deep buzz, I guess is the best word for it. And you sort of get the impression that there are many nightmares in this forest.
I get the impression that that's why they call it the Shriekwood.
Could be one of many, my friend.
We just burned down the whole
Brightest
woods.
mind of our age.
I mean, I
Turns
could
out
do
the whole
that, yeah.
Torch it all.
I mean, we could try to get V and then come back to kill it. It's your calls. It is close to your homes.
I mean, he would probably know better. I mean, and if, Tabitha's around, I feel like we're on borrowed time, almost, since this is kind of urgent. And this is just going to hold us up.
For a few reasons, it's urgent.
I agree. We should probably try to find V first.
Goblin shrugs. This tribe is not democracy, but this appears to be, so... deeper on, I guess.
We'll mark it on the GPS and come back later.
Yeah. It's on the
Pandora's
it's on the
behind him,
itinerary.
like making a little mocking tribe. Not a democracy. Meow 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 meow.
You hear the woods
Not
start to
loud enough
whisper
for
in
him
the
to hear him, but
distance.
she's doing that little childish hands on her hip.
It's like
The grumpy barbarian's not getting his way. Wah.
I need
Oh.
like fan art of
Wee, wee,
Pandora
wee.
mocking Goldbrand from behind him.
He just wanted to kill something. It's fine.
Viciously mocking.
We have plenty of things to
Yeah.
kill on our pathway.
I think you guys sort of not retreat from the graveyard, but pull back in toward the town, examining the bloody footprints beneath you and the way they lead. You have two options besides the direction you came from and the one direction you've explored: the northeastern pathway and the northwestern pathway. Also, I don't know if it's my Spotify, but I keep losing music.
Least.
Need to find that.
I have it right this second. I also was kicked out of the listening thing earlier. It looks like you were too.
Silly. Ooh, very good music though.
Okay.
The end is always near. How appropriate.
You said spooky music, so I made a horror playlist. You're welcome.
I'm about it, my guy.
What do y'all thinks? East or west? Well, northeast or northwest.
I mean, following the footprints out seems pretty standard.
I was about to say, do they keep going or do they stop in town?
They stop sort of at the right by where Davos is there. It's it looks as if the blood had pooled there for a moment, but then had been staunched. And so when they continued, the steps get a little fainter, and then they just stop. The blood prints, I mean, get a little fainter before they just sort of disappear. You can tell that
Can
this
we
is.
kind of?
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, can we kind of discern which direction the toes were pointing towards?
If you want to provide me with a stealth, or excuse me, not a stealth, a survival check, I will be happy to give you that.
Let me try.
You do get the idea that this blood is a couple of days old. It's not exceptionally old, not fresh.
There are footprints still.
Yep, that's. Oh, they don't got the beans on them. They're not a tabaxi, and that's what Pandora gets.
It's like, yeah, they're going. somewhere.
Another person could roll a survival check, or you guys could take a 50-50 shot. Call.
I can give it a.
No,
What's yours, Ark?
Oh, 0. Wiz is my dumb stat.
I got you, brother.
I think Colbrand's probably
Not as much as intelligence, but
15 isn't great, but you know, it's enough to get a lead. You gather that it looks like the steps proceed northwesternly. They go up sort of this low, almost natural staircase, and proceed that way as far as your eyes can see.
5 gold, the body's in the well.
So,
I will
You
tell
know,
this area. You
us
said this was a
Tabaxi
well.
back home, we have a scary story about a long-haired Tabaxi that was a long-haired black Tabaxi that lived in a well and haunted people. You know, just saying.
The Circle, right? The Well? Yeah, I love that movie. I love that story.
Sorry,
The
I'll
circle.
let you Baba do.
I think I've heard that one. Something about 7 days to live.
Yeah, if the bard
Oh,
tells
yeah.
you the story, you have 7 days to live, and that kills you.
you receive a pigeon that says 1 fortnight,
Yeah, exactly.
but it flies off.
Love it. Alright, you guys, I assume, proceed your way up that direction.
Let's do it.
I don't know if you're able to move yet, man, or not, but I'll move you if you need be.
That would be nice.
You squished
Yeah,
apples.
I gotcha. You deserved it. Something or another, I'm sure. Hey, you guys make your way up. Davos, you in particular, see that on the northeastern portion of this upper courtyard is a temple. You're not really. It's pretty sad. It's crumpled, mostly destroyed, heavily vandalized. You can't find any visible symbols of a god. And most of the other buildings seem entirely abandoned. The few that you check as you pass by seem to have been thoroughly ransacked for anything of worth, and now just lie in this state of rot. The pathway does continue up to the north, and it seems to curve in the undergrowth.
I guess Gobrand should continue to look for any signs, any more like tracking signs for these footprints.
Yeah, you can roll another survival check from my guy.
23.
23. That's pretty good. So you do notice now three distinct sets of footprints. All three of them humanoid. One of them, I mean, two of them comparable in size. It's kind of difficult to say to Tabitha and Vicoria's feet. You're a very skilled tracker, so I think you would pick up on at least that much. The other one, the feet seem to be a little smaller. Does not seem to be a exceptionally large entity. That they're not very deep in the spots where there has been mud. So you gather enough to discern that it's likely another humanoid.
Another humanoid, not a creature with 4 legs.
Correct.
There's only these 3 sets of tracks.
Excellent question. With the 23, you do spot other tracks. One that seems almost bear-like. These the animal tracks seem to be very abundant in the regard that this place does not get a lot of heavy rainfall due to the nature of the canopy cover, so a lot of these tracks are older. The bear-like ones are a little too elongated to be like what you would typically see from a bear. You also do see some best way to describe it. Well, with the 23, keeping one other thing in mind, you do see older tracks that came through, probably about a week ago. Seemingly, they're all on the heavier side, still humanoid. You would gather likely made from boots, metal boots in particular, and believe that this might have been the knights that Davos and Bergen were speaking of.
Gobrand looks up after. I imagine it takes him a minute to decipher all this. And he goes, there has been a lot of shit walking through here. I may have found their tracks, but it's possible they were being followed, which does not bode well for them or us. If none of you are opposed, I suggest we blaze the trails. Am I understanding that correctly? You said it goes into the underbrush?
Well, it sort of proceeds in this northwesterly direction before you can tell the trail kind of curves. And so you can't see too far down the trail. It's also very dim, so you can't see too far to begin with, though.
Do y'all want me to scout ahead on that one? Or do you feel confident with us just
alone.
blazing through?
Alright, I guess
Definitely not alone.
It's time to do the things, huh?
They're not gonna see me, don't worry.
But we're more worried about you going by yourselves. She did come back and tell us about the big body piles. Alright, well,
You guys know Pandora to be sneaky.
How do y'all feel about
But you
casting
also-
that trace, and then we can just all go until we find V? I want to do it.
The trees are pretty thick, huh?
Yes, yeah, the trees that line this pathway are very dense. You get the feeling you could go through them, but it would be difficult, and you would make, perhaps more importantly, you'd make quite a bit of noise doing it.
I was saying I probably wouldn't be able to see too much if I flew up and tried to get an aerial view.
Yeah, with the canopy the way it is, you can get probably 15, maybe even 20 feet up, but flying any higher than that's very difficult because you're sort of having to duck and pay more attention to where your wings are going to have to flap for you to keep that elevation and navigation. You could, you gather it's going to be difficult to get through the canopy just as much as it is the underbrush.
Well, say we press on, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead to Pandora's. Just don't go too far. Dashing distance, please.
And with that, how close are you going, or how far ahead are you going to be as you walk forward?
You're on mute, Barb.
Oh. Let's see.
think you should go like a maximum of 60.
So y'all want me going first?
Yeah, if you want to go take
Yeah.
a look ahead, just try not to get too far out of range.
Should I roll a stealth check while I do this?
Certainly, yeah, but I do want to know how far you're going to be ahead, so I can keep that in mind.
What do we want to start with? Think about, I don't know, 50 feet takes me to the edge here.
Yeah.
Or we go, is it this way? It's this way, northwest. Sorry, I have no
Northwest,
direction
correct,
sense. Yeah, so
yeah,
this
I think-
takes me right on.
And we'll just proceed
Yeah,
with you being
right
about
on the
50
edge.
feet ahead. Go ahead and roll a stealth and a perception check.
All right, my favorite.
As you guys continue on deeper, I need everyone to roll another d20 for me. Do not roll a
That was a 19 and a 17 on my perception. But hold on just a second though. I thought I had that thing where I can't roll lower than a 10 if I have what's it called? The little expertise
reliable
or whatever.
talent, I think. I think it's reliable
Yes,
talent.
whenever I make an ability check that adds my proficiency bonus. Okay.
So you are proficient to stealth. And probably
Yeah.
perception, I imagine. You
Let me
could
see.
re-roll
Yes, I
both.
am proficient in both, so the base roll is a 10 then by my understanding. So that's
Davos, roll a d20 as well as Barbara. I
Okay.
will narrate this as Barbara's going. You continue forward, and you very much gather that you're getting outside of the city limits, or the old city limits of Zelbros. You are picking up on a lot of those tracks that Goldbrand was talking about. A lot of traffic has come back through here in the last fortnight or so. And while with the night, excuse me, that's a 20. No, that's a 19 for your perception. You're having trouble keeping track of of the tracks that you believe to be Tabitha and Vicora, but you are carrying on. Davos, if you cannot, I will roll a d20 for you, my guy. I haven't heard him from, so he might be tied up. Okay, he didn't get a 1, which is the only important part. Goldbrand, however, I need you to roll a d8 for me, my dude.
Ooh.
No.
We just rolling.
All right, I'll do all 8, motherfucker. 8.
An 8.
Okay, so this is actually this is pretty good for this. Goldbrand, as you creep forward, you just have this completely unsettling feeling here. The way that the trees like groan as the wind comes through. The forest is never silent, and that really sets you on edge because you don't know if something is keeping up with you. With your 8, you are going to be. You get the feeling you're being watched, and it's perpetual. From every shadow, from every corner, you get the sense that you are being observed by things you can't see. You can't quite pinpoint locations. You are going to have the frightened condition. Whatever creatures you see, this condition will transfer onto them, as in they will be the source of your fear. You will have a chance to shake this off once you see them, but until you do, you are exceptionally paranoid. So I want you to bear that in mind from both a roleplay perspective and a mechanical perspective once we engage in combat.
Do you think Goldbrand goes from walking like quietly to like walking like, you know how you swing a stick in tall grass to check for a snake? He's just got his side like swish, swish, swish.
Carving a path, Legend of Zelda style.
I was using my little soft paws, walking on my beans.
Yeah, you guys proceed forward. I'm just going to go ahead and drag you all a little bit closer down the path. Pandora, you do not see anything that should alarm you. You do not feel like you're being seen. Goldbrand's behavior is making you a little nervous because Goldbrand seems to think that there's things all over.
Yeah, he speaks to the trees. He's like that Lorax fellow from my hometown.
Like he would speak up like as he's walking and say, something is not right here. Maybe the first time anyone's ever heard Goldbrand stutter. Eyes everywhere.
With the big one being scared, Pandora goes on all fours and slinks real low to the ground.
God. Well, maybe don't raise a haunted forest next time, Gully.
Yeah. Oh no, how was I supposed to know there'd be consequences for my actions?
We did the thing out of the goodness of our hearts.
No, and
yeah.
You guys
see where goodness gets you.
Like that should be an Argonauts t-shirt. You guys,
Quick, write a
proceed
note. Write a
forward.
note.
You
Write
guys
that down.
are constantly scanning the forest edge, now put on edge by your friends. You don't see anything. No check necessary. There is nothing lurking, as Goldbrand feels there is. But he is racked by this phobia of this paranoia. One more time. Was that Devin?
We're
I'm being
suspicious
goofy.
of you.
Surprise, surprise. You guys continue down this pathway and come to a crossroads.
Hmm.
I don't like those crosswords.
I will let you explore. There seems to be a high ridge to the northwest. Okay.
Just say someone got a lyre they can play at this ye old crossroad.
You gather that this was at one point a trade road, and now has been obviously fallen into neglect and disrepair. There seem to be 3 different directions you can go. If someone wants to make a perception check, you might be able to find out a little more. Or survival checks, and some of you are trying to track for prints.
I will keep trying to track if no one is opposed.
That would be 19.
19, excellent. Okay, and a 12. Then, Devin, if you will roll, and I don't know if Brandon is with us, or if he is deceased.
Is he with us?
20 for your survival is pretty solid. This path leads up to the stony clearing, and it's almost like an amphitheater in a bit of a way. It's a rare moment of the Shriekwood where you can see the sky, but you couldn't have landed the airship here. You just see a little bit of daylight peeking through. With your perception checks, Arcanox, you see 2 possible ways. You see the path to the northeast, where you see a forgotten road that leads up the rocky cliff, and it seems to ride the ridge up to where it meets a mesa. You can't make out what lies beyond that. The second path you see is to the northeast, which winds its way up to a wicked thicket of dense briars. Pandora, you spot a third path to the south, nestled between some large boulders and an unusual evergreen that's blocking the path in such a way that it seems intentional. Devin, with your 20, you were able to pick up on the tracks and see that they lead between this rock and this evergreen. If I put you here, you might see a little further down that. You also gather from the northwestern side, you see a few javelins, some type of projectile that is sort of embedded into the ground here and there. Just a couple of them. But you do gather that the tracks you're following head to the southeast.
Looks like we need to go that ways. He'll jerk his head to the southeast.
Sure you're not too scared of that path?
Speaking of, everyone roll another d20 for me.
Oh, God.
All the d20. I'll roll again for Josh. Okay, nobody this time. Which way do you guys choose to proceed?
I can think nervously. Oh, good.
Oh, I was gonna say I like this intentional tree. I kind of want to knock it down.
Yeah, I have HM slash, so I can take care of it.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, we need some what do you call that? Some carpentry over this way.
Carpentry. You guys, or how do you?
I was trying to think logging.
How exactly do you guys do this? How do you approach it?
I'm inclined to take
I'm
the
relying
ridge.
on Art. I want him to get rid of this tree.
Oh shit. About how
I
big is
can't
it?
cut it down.
Like-
I mean,
So the
Around.
tree is it's unusual for the type of forest you're in. You're seeing a lot of like blackwood pine. This one is in fact Goldbrand I think would know, and on his survival check I'll allow. It's a cypress tree, which isn't really native to this area. There's like 3 large boughs of it. That one of them sort of rests down toward meet up right by these boulders. And it seems
that's a nice
partially
boulder.
it's a nice boulder. It seems partially intentional, like it's used to conceal the entryway. Other than that, you don't pick up too much else regarding the tree.
I don't like any of this.
Ooh, ooh. Can I use my divine sense on the tree to detect good and evil?
Certainly. Will you drop that in chat for me? I just want to read it because I
Yeah.
think. I'm trying to think. I don't think this would give up.
Ooh.
Strong evil presence. You, uh, while you do not detect an active presence, you detect the strong presence of a fiend from the northwest. Not the presence, excuse me. The the stench almost left by one that had been in the area to the northwest. You also smell a bit of undead to the northeast. The southwest, the tree in this area ahead, does not seem to have any strong good or strong evil presence. Dude, I said southwest. Of course.
Relay that to the party. Yeah. Say the fiend that the figure summoned could potentially be up to the northwest on the ridge. Also getting strong hints of undead up there. I don't know. I get the feeling this tree might be a herring, but I'm down to explore it if you guys are.
I'll even include, if you see here, it looks like there's an arrow sticking out of the dirt. Another one up here. Just a couple of them. You get a strong fiendish presence from that, and you take a closer look. I don't think Arcanox would recognize it immediately. However, Davos would recognize this as the spur from a bone devil, a powerful fiend that often emits these almost in the way you would expect, like a porcupine's spines, but it shoots them out.
Ew.
So Davos would recognize it to be from that. For what that's worth.
I wonder if this is where your knights got into some trouble.
It's holy boy time.
Oh god, what does that mean?
Where do you guys proceed? You have three options before you.
My recommendation is the northwest. Take the ridge.
Aye, Captain.
That was
She says kind of
the
jokingly,
fiend.
jabbing at me.
Yeah, the northwest was the fiend, the northeast was a sense of undead, and then the tracks lead to the southwest. Not sure how much of that you were able to pick up during the episode.
Yeah.
We think the Thrax is V and Tabitha. I agree
Yeah.
that these things need to be taken care of, but we might want to find them, borrow time and all that.
If we think the tracks are legit V and Tabitha, then I would say go that way.
Yeah. I forgot about the tracks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, you fine.
That's our best lead.
You guys proceed that direction, making your way between the
Making my way downtown, walking fast,
Walking fast.
very
the
scared, peeing.
between you're making your way between the tree and the boulder, and you see a bit of light flickering from down this direction. You guys may proceed through that little opening here. I hope you do.
Can I peek through the opening?
You see surprisingly tranquil scene, honestly. It's a warm cab, lots of fire, and a small. It almost seems unreal, not in the way that it seems like it's an illusion, but this place should not exist in shit like this.
Ugh.
As you come forward, well, you're still just peeking around, so yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. That's
What do your feline eyes see, Pandorus?
sweet.
Can I perceive? Do I need to go further to perceive anything?
Yeah, you're still a good. I mean, you're still a good 50 or so feet away from it. It's kind of hard to make out any detail. You
Can I
could, but
fit
I don't.
Here is this
Oh, yeah,
like a
you can-
small
you
crevice?
can-
Okay.
Yeah, the tree isn't like rammed up against the rock. It is to where you could gently move the branches and be able to make your way under it.
Scooting. Do I need to roll stealth since I'm trying to be sneaky?
Stealth and perception, and if you guys are following, I would also recommend the same.
All right, here we goes.
It's stealth or perception?
It's both.
If you're trying to be sneaky, stealth. If you're trying to scan the place, perception. Can be.
Okay, so that's 25 on stealth and that's 12.
I'm gonna
That's
regret this, aren't I?
right.
Pandora.
17 on stealth.
Hey.
All around. You guys are feeling fairly comfortable. Let's make your way in, and don't see any immediate need to be on edge. As you guys make your way in a little bit, Arcanox, you just unfortunately were the lowest one on that check, and you kick a small rock. Doesn't make a lot of noise, but it's enough to where emerging from the undergrowth on two sides, you see two owl bears emerge.
Oh, God.
Both of them on the defensive, rise up on their hind legs and sort of bellow at you. Either of you make
Can I bellow back?
Oh yeah, you want to try to intimidate them?
Dude, fuck yeah. I have expertise.
Intimidator.
There are these partially transparent.
Lowest is 15. 31, baby.
31 for intimidation. Both of them like back up a bit and like they're not sprinting away, but they're moving. They're no longer advancing. And as your bellow, your roar echoes throughout this forest.
Oh, God.
You hear that several things grow quiet. So
Gonna
the small
attract
gathering
other
critters
shit.
silence out. But you hear a voice. Coot? Bandit? Hold down now. As you look over and see an older woman standing upon the porch, having just stepped outside, holding in her hand what I can only really call like a double-barreled crossbow. Like it has two separate strings, like sort of stacked on top of each other, and two bolts loaded in it. And she has this aiming over at you guys. You guys are now actually in the little glen here proper, so I'm going to move y'all to where you're in position.
Yeah, I can see you.
And as you guys do this, you said y'all can see, so y'all can see like the area. Wait, no. As you guys do this, she says, "I'll have about 30 seconds to explain why you're here. This is my land, and I won't deal well with trespassers."
Have you seen some mortally wounded goth couple come through here?
Mortally wounded goth couple is an apt description. She sort of cocks her head at you. She looks you up and down. What would you be wanting with such people?
To not let
Pandora's.
them be mortally wounded.
Be careful what you say, James.
Yeah.
She sort of juts her
We're
chin
just
at
working.
you. You, an Uthgard. What's your tribe?
Goldbrand
Don't tell her.
gestures like rudely to the tattoos on himself, but doesn't say anything. You can.
I know you're kind, but I'm not of nuances or laws.
Does that really matter, though?
Why does it matter?
Well, I've had more than gray wolves have been a pain in the past. I would like to not mingle with their kind. No offense. You know, of course, the gray wolf tribe to
Yeah.
be the lycanthropes.
I'm not the great.
See in the distance echoes through pissed somehow.
I'm not the great.
Uh,
I am a shaman
wanna talk to this lady.
regardless. You don't have much to worry about from me. He points to the scythe, just for shows. You can ask them. I can't see shits.
I understand that. You look older than I am, which honestly is saying something.
He's old as shit.
She looks over her shoulder and sort of calls into the cabin and goes, You might want to take a look at this. And emerging from within the cabin is a a bit of a wild-looking figure. Josh, do you want to introduce yourself to the party?
Oh my god.
Sure.
The new one.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
what?
Yuan is a water ganassi.
Yeah,
he
V died. That's
has
right.
hair that sort of resembles, I would almost say, the tone and color of seaweed. His skin is sort of this deep, not deep, but like a beautiful sort of mixture between like a green blue, like an aqua color. He is wearing, probably at this point, at least some form of very normal looking common or basic clothing. He's of average height. I would say he's probably a little bit taller than previous incarnations, but not quite as tall as V, so probably between like 6'1" and 6'2", standard frame.
Who is this?
This figure does not seem to recognize any of you initially, and kind of looks a little confused himself. The old woman.
I was worried about this.
The old woman will say, it's best y'all get a little closer. Cypress? And you see that the cypress tree behind you, these 3 large boughs, sort of readjust themselves to block that entryway one more and provide you a little extra cover. And you sort of realize, Goldbrain in particular, I think, that this is a trio of awakened trees whose roots have sort of grown together in this one heap, but are very much 3 distinctly different entities. They all have rather wizened faces that look at you, but they do not speak. The owlbears. Nods and Tria. The owlbears watching you, but allow you to approach and don't seem to make any aggressive. Maple says, there was a ruckus here a few days ago. When I went to investigate, I found a friend here, stark naked as a blue jay, and a woman who was very injured. She's still conscious, unfortunately, but we have her laid up on the couch inside.
Do I believe
This
her?
gentleman. Hey, you can make
Yeah,
an insight
right.
check.
I know he's water ganassi now, but would he have a similar enough scent that Pandora could pick up on it being the same soul? Question mark?
I don't think you could smell the soul. You are familiar enough with Z's previous incarnation to consider it certainly as a possibility. You both believe Maple, who introduces herself as Maple, excuse me. My friend here doesn't seem to be all there upstairs. We're going to do a brief cut into Yuan's mind, as you hear a voice that you've heard sort of come and go, and you haven't really associated that as an issue. Just always been a presence that's been there since you've been reawakened. And it's the voice of Florence, the siren, that the specter of the siren, that is one of the many spirits that still inhabits you. She goes, "Oh, that's quite nice. It's been a minute since we've seen your friends. It's good to have people you trust nearby."
I guess in my mind, I
The
would
hell?
respond back, because this is happening internally, right?
Yes, sorry, only you hears that, my bad.
Okay, so she recognizes them. I don't think I do.
No.
I'd respond for a moment and I would say, I don't feel that I recognize these people in the way that you do. Can you explain?
Well, I've made mention that this is not the first life these are allies from the past. It's been some. You see them from time to time, but it's been some many years since they've all been gathered together as this. They mean you no ill will, and for whatever reason they've come to find you, certainly to offer their aid.
At this reassurance, lower the hand I was raising to cast a fireball as a water sphere at this random band of roving adventurers who seemed well equipped and encroached on an area that I now know is home. And I'll survey them for a second, but I don't think I'm going to say much. I'll just sort of glower for a moment, maybe step forward, just stare.
Do you all react?
I like to think Colbrand, because he struggles to see. Like maybe he hears the rest of the party making like hushed whispers talking. He's gonna go, I don't understand. So we need to go find the Vicors.
Would I be able to roll a perception and see if that's him?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not trying to recognize somebody you've seen. This isn't something you've perceived before. It
What
might
if,
be more.
as a paladin, I can look into his soul?
If you want to make maybe a religion check, we'll say. We'll see what you can discern from that.
Okay.
Devin, I don't know what background noise I'm emitting. There's nothing really happening at the house right now, but I will try my best to speak up.
I got an 11.
An 11 on religion. Fucking matron of ravens is some wild shit, dog. You understand that her and Z/V/U question mark have a agreement, and that he doesn't really die under normal circumstances. You also know that he was a fire ganassi and an earth ganassi, and here is a water ganassi. So it fits a pattern, but you don't have a hard assurance. Also know that there is
Where's
an injured woman
Tabitha?
inside. Yeah.
I think I would
Maple
just kind of feel out how he responds and say, "Where's Tabitha?"
Yeah, I
this
want
is
to go
not
check
a,
out Tabitha.
this is the first time you've heard this name, as Tabitha has been unconscious for much of your existence the past 2 days. And as he says it almost like it's a spark, and you know immediately what he's talking about. And you know that if he knows her, and if he knows anything about her or can help her, that he is a friend.
Okay, at the mention of that name and sort of the spark of recollection, I'll squint for a second, just sort of echo to verify. You don't intend her any harm, right?
Maple raises a second double crossbow.
No,
If
of
we
course not.
intended harm, you would know
Tabitha
it
is
by
our
now.
friend, along with her weird, mossy, earth ganassi friend, V.
And
Well, I
V
heard he was actually
also-
really cool.
Yeah. Again, when he says V, it is just a flicker of recognition. Not like the clarity of all of his memories by any means, but that resonates within you. The spirits within you know that name, they know you.
I guess I'll look at him for a second and say, well, I apologize. I don't fully recognize you. My name's Yuon. At least, I think it is. Yu's easier, so you can call me that if you'd like.
You.
Would you mind giving me your names?
Looks for Colbrand.
Oh, you want to learn today.
3 seconds. He goes, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, obviously, my name is Arcanarch.
My friend V, like I said, he stank. He was extremely jealous of my superior capabilities in fighting, so maybe that would spark some memory. He had this weird love thing with Tabitha, which was kind of weird to watch.
Only
But
listen to
also,
half of what this
strangely-
one says.
Shut up.
My name
It's
is
all true.
Flagons. We were friends in another life.
I am Her Royal Highness, the Pirate Queen of the universe, but you can call me Pandora.
Of the universe.
Oh, I'm in the presence of royalty. Incredible.
And as they're introducing themselves, like as Davos goes, like, you smell the guy, but I was this punk. You get flickers of memories that Z had with him, memories that V had with him. You know roughly who this is. This is that pompous, semi loudmouth but good meaning Ard Paladin, a man of the light. You recognize Goldbrand as almost a battle brother in ways. You were a figure that you've looked to for wisdom in the past. And Arcanox and Pandora, you've actually known the longest and connect with them in that you fought alongside them many times.
Oh.
That they are that they are all people that were dear and close to you, and you think that they can help Tabitha, who is, even in your meager understanding, not.
Okay. I'll look across them for a second, and I'll say, it seems that some of you might be more intelligent than others. In any event, I think we need some assistance. Would you escort me inside so we can take a look? Tabitha's... something's wrong. It's beyond my capabilities.
Alright.
Devin, you're on mute.
That's okay. There we go. I've had some practice at this lately. Goldbrand would like to go in.
Yeah, but he said intelligent.
You don't beat me by much there, Dawnbringer. You can take
Hey,
a stab
now.
you can take a stab if you want, but I'm more than happy to expend the energies.
Yeah, I can see what I can do.
I'll just take some notes for a song.
You guys approach Tap.
I think Goldbrand, his medicine isn't great. Like he understands healing is like magic. So he might just stroll in there and look at her. Does she?
You guys make your way toward the porch, and Maple, upon hearing that you guys are apparently on good terms with Yuan, which he got his name, by the way, by her just saying, "Who are you?" You, and like talking to him as you, and that sort of became part of what he understood as himself. Maple lets you guys onto the porch. You see a couple old rickety rocking chairs. You see a stockpile of firewood on the edge of the cabin. This is very well made, wood and stone. And she leads you into a very warm interior where there is a fire that is, even though it is not the dead of winter or anything, it's actually summer. It is actually lit and seems to be as such to provide heat for the figure that is slumped on the couch, laying across it long ways. You recognize it immediately as Tabitha, but she is, even for her standards, very pale. And the first thing that either of you notice is that her left arm is missing. You saw her bit by the pit fiend, and this powerful fiendish venom go into her system. And if you examine this, Maple will speak up, she's wandered into a small kitchen area and is putting a kettle over the fire and is gathering a few things. And says, I found her. She was bleeding out near Zelbras. We put a tourniquet on the wound, got her back here, but the arm was too far gone. It was practically in shreds. Amputated it, and with a bit of home good remedies, as well as what meager gifts I possess, was able to staunch the bleeding and stop her from losing more. But she has not awoken in the better part of 2, going on 3 days now.
I got an idea.
Needs to eat, and she needs waters.
We've been hydrating her. I've not been able to get her to keep any food down.
So
I've been doing
poison of the blood fiend.
Ooh,
Or venom,
okay.
you said?
One more time, Ben. You were kind of funky for a second.
You said the venom of the blood fiend, right?
The pit. Well, she doesn't know what did it.
Oh, the
But
pit.
you
the
guys
pit fiend.
know it was the pit fiend. Yeah. Some fiendish venom had worked its way into her system. At least that's as much as I could derive from talking to your friend Yuan here. He didn't seem
I would
highly aware
gather
of himself.
this isn't like a hit point thing. She's just like magically unconscious.
You
Not like
understand
a healing
from-
potion would fix her or anything.
Yeah, you would understand from your perspective that she is not injured. It's not she's at 0 hit points. but she has just taken a great shock to her system and is more or less in the equivalent of a coma.
Ark doesn't have a bad thought with that. I can also try. I have
Yeah.
some healing magic I can throw down on her. Like I
Yeah.
might greater restoration her here in a second if this
Why
doesn't
not-
work.
Why don't we get a
Yeah, I was
religion
gonna
or
try to
medicine?
lay on hand.
Let's get a religion or medicine check from Arcanox, Goldbrand, and Davos and see where we lie. Religion or medicine, your choice.
And I would say to Goldbrain, if none of this works, I heard a story where one kiss from her true beloved would restore her.
You think Goldbrand, like for the first time in a minute, looks confused, looks around at
Wild
everybody else.
tales.
Is this really a story that the children's tells? Goldbrand looks confused.
That's a nat 1 on religion, by the way.
Ooh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Arcanox
I
can
agree.
tell that she is sick.
yeah. Goldbrand with a 20, and I like to think it is very much that. Arcanox and Davos are like talking like remedies that they hear in like stories or legends, or like Arcanox like there's no pirate's cure. You shove a whole orange in their mouth and leave them for 3 days and roll them over, wrap them in seaweed. Goldbrand, however, with a 20, you gathered that she can be awoken through some type of restoration, lesser restoration, greater restoration. Either of these might go a ways to bringing her back. Lay on hands would probably also work, as in the regards that it can cure a disease or neutralize a poison. You gather that while she is stabilized, and while the poison is not actively damaging her, that it still lingers within her system.
I don't actually have lesser restoration prepared. I'd like to think you would Ark, because I know you've learned a thing or two from the Ruby Dragons. If you would like to give it a try, I think it would benefit her greatly. At least it would clear out whatever is still in her systems. Her bloods, I guess you would say.
I think I may have something.
So you can
I look at my spells, and I have the ability for greater restoration, but I think that comes from the Anstooth harp.
I
trying
can
to-
use that too, but if Ark can do it with 5 points of lay on hands, that's like the lowest resource cost to try
Oh,
to get her.
I got that too. That's kind of what I was asking about. Instead of potion, I was going to try to lay on hands as well.
Yeah, you both gather that would work. It's just a matter of who you all want to work out uses it. Or both.
But would a greater restoration heal her to greater effect?
It would, but it would expend the larger resource. That is a 5th level spell.
So if we
Does it
lay
feel-
on hands,
You could
I
both
don't know,
do it.
I guess-
She would get like the equivalent of 10 hit points? Or it depends on how
Well, it's
many-
not so much the hit points. It's using the 5 hit points to cure the disease.
One of you could cure
gather-
the disease
Would that
and
be
the other could
enough?
Give her 5 hit points.
You gather so you gather a lesser restoration or a lay on hands will get her conscious. A greater restoration might have greater effects on getting her back, but that's the best you can ascertain without actually using it.
I can go ahead and wake her up.
Let's start with that. I think it's the best ideas.
With that, Arcanox is gonna rub both of his hands together, forming the rainbow chromatic fire that Sardior inside the Nightstone emitted. And then he's gonna say a prayer, blessing her with Sardior's holy fire, etc., etc. And there we go. I don't think there's really a roll. I'm just subtracting 5.
Oh yeah, you're good. That radiant fire ignites between your hands and wreaths around your fingers, and you hover it over her torso, and the flames sort of sink into her. And you watch as they, you can see them make their way through her veins and her nervous system. Just these multicolored lights, almost like Devin's LED strips all over his computer setup, where you see this light pulsate through her, and within a matter of seconds, she coughs, stirs, and you can see tries to like push herself up, but the arm is not there to push. The arm that she's trying to use is not there, and she cannot quite get herself repositioned.
So I help her the rest of the way up, kind of thing.
Yeah, you get her up and into a seated position, perhaps still slouched, very weak. Oh. didn't think I was gonna. I didn't think we were gonna make it out of there. And she sees the scales in your hand, and she looks up and thank you, Arcanox. But where is? And she goes to scan for V, and doesn't see him, but instead makes eyes with you on. And she immediately she begins to well up, and
Yeah, it happened again.
Oh, the last thing that I remember is that thing doing something in Draconic, and you dissolved to ash. And I've seen it happen before, but I was not in the thick of it with you, and to be alone and bleeding out in this godforsaken place, I didn't know what would come of us. I'm glad that you are back. Vikora?
Well, it's ironic because I think my name is you now.
She nods, and she sort of assesses you for a second. And she's been with you quite some time. She has seen the spirits manifested as you've summoned them in battles. She almost traces your face and pointing out see Florence's handiwork. I see that the Jorn has made you strong and sturdy. It might be different color, but you still have your father's eyes. And she's recognizing the spirits as they have manifested your new form. And it's, I think, a beautiful moment.
Very romantic.
You say that, or?
Oh no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I don't think
Let's
anyway.
Bleh.
she-
Sticks her tongue
she
out. Gross.
she sort of catches herself in this moment of not quite intimacy. Well, yeah, intimacy. And looks. I thank you all for coming. Didn't know that we had a search party and are looking for us, but glad you found us. About this time, Maple sets a cup of tea on her right side, as well as a bit of food, dried bread, rations, jerky, some berries, just a little bit of an assortment on a plate on the table in front of her.
It's fortunate we had a need for you guys. Otherwise, we had Davos scribe for you guys, but if not for that, we would never have known.
It sounds like you
I-
guys found some shit.
Oh, and did we ever?
Y'all gotta call for help.
Or some
before y'all
shit
go
find you.
fishing up trouble.
Yeah, got to assemble the
Oh.
Avengers.
Well,
What the hell were you
didn't
doing
think-
in the Shriekwood anyway?
Oh, we had gone by Secumber, and they had told us of some stuff going on, and believed some dark spirits to be at work. Vikora and I, we came to investigate. We didn't know getting into all this. And at Devin's reminder, we are actually going to cut to a break. I think this is a good spot for it. Y'all got her back awake. Over this break, she will fill you guys in on what you already know, sort of. But yeah, we'll come back in about 10-ish minutes, my guys. And we're back. Thank you for joining us on the second half of episode 2, The Shriekwood. Tabitha has just gone through explaining the events of the last hours that she remembers, at least, where her and V had encountered a spirit that they did not think to be malicious, did not think to be the reason for the disappearances they were, being reported of. V had absorbed it and added itself to him. And V you even as this, that's not going to get confusing at all. You even as you're being told this, the memory of it is sort of coming back to you, and you hear Hawthorne within you. You've done me a great kindness in aiding me in ending that pain, and I appreciate you. She goes on to describe them finding this entity and the pit fiend emerging and them doing battle with it, her being poisoned, her banishing it, all while Vikora defended her and did his best to keep her alive and did a damn good job, because hot damn was it a close call. As she explains this, I imagine you sort of picks up with what he remembers, which isn't much. Would you like to describe that, Josh, or?
Yeah, I mean, my thought is that as the memories start to sort of come back, the main things that I start to remember are like seeing her struggle a little bit, like seeing her start to heave and convulse as the poison took hold. I would remember the pit fiend going away, and then I imagine that I would start to remember my death. I remember him telling me to die, and then sort of that blackness and the conversations that I would have had with the spirits probably start to swirl back, although not fully.
Yeah, you get flickers of like them, almost like them building you. Florence, like he needs broad shoulders, a swimmer's build, and Najorn like needs sturdy bones, and they, Devin, I don't know what you're saying, but fuck off. They and sort of remember part of that. You do not remember anything with the Raven Queen. You hear Tabitha mention of it, and you understand the vague concept of her. Thinner shoulders are better for swimming. I'm pretty sure swimmer's build is broad shoulders, narrow waist. I could be wrong. Regardless, look at Michael Phelps, motherfucker. So Devin's gonna go Google something to try to prove a point. You are seen. You do remember finding her in the mud, still very weak, trying to help her walk and get away from this place that seemed to be so sinister, finding horrific things on the way that you had no means of comprehending, and eventually finding Maple, or her finding you, and leading you back to her cottage. Maple nods her head and says, it's not often that we get travelers through here. Very few that I've seen. I've done my best to help, but honestly, if it weren't for the wards that my granny had placed around this place, I think this little oasis within the forest would be long overrun. Tabitha.
Still not entirely convinced she's not a hag.
You,
Yeah, why are you a box?
Just imagine if your house was made of candy.
Yeah. If you guys want to try to do some checks about it, you can. Insight checks. If any of you have a ways to detect Fey, Fiend, Undead, Divine Senses, I think would pop on that sort of thing. I'm not certain, but I think they might. But the place does seem relatively mundane.
I think I would also come to her defense a little bit.
That's how they get
Like,
you.
As far as like how long I've been alive, I think I've known her longer than I've known you guys, at least at this current moment, and she hasn't tried to eat or kill any of us. So,
You too, yeah.
But have you met any hags in your current life?
I wanted to
compare
quip
this
so bad
experience
back at you
with.
because you is sassy, baby, but I don't think I'm gonna do it.
We appreciate the helps you've given to our friends.
Yeah, celestial, undead, and fiend within 60 feet, not behind total cover. Also, if anything's been affected by the hallowed spell.
affected by the hallowed spell, you do get a ping off of that. Maple will tell you that she is not a gifted caster by any means. The only magics that I can work are magics of the wood. Mechanically, you guys would get the understanding that she is a ranger and has access to some minor magics, but is in no way a druid or anything of that a higher caliber. The land has been hallowed, and she would tell you that my granny was a much more gifted woman, and she built this place long before Zelbros was even here, and had put protections in place to keep us safe and to keep others safe. When the city sprang up, I continued to live on its outskirts. And she actually takes you around the property and shows you that you're sort of on a cliffside above the city. There would occasionally be those who needed help from either the city with medicine or the like, and I'd do my best to provide. But about 7 years ago, the forest was ablaze. I refused to leave my ancestral home where I was born and my mother. I tried my best to defend it. And some creatures of the wood, like Coot and Bandit over there, she says, gesturing to the owlbears, as well as Cypress, who had come here with a treant by the name of Turlang, which is a name you guys recognize. One from way back. I forget exactly what it was called. This is back when before Gold, or just after Golden Fields. Lipperlost was the awakened tree there.
So Turlang was the one we met with the other druid that had George W. Bush.
Yes. I forgot about W, but yeah.
Recall something everyone else would remember.
I'm about to get us canceled on Twitch and YouTube. It's fine.
Well, it was an awakened bush that they called W. This was back with
Wasn't
Tally.
she the daughter of somebody?
She was. You were looking for a famous druid, and she was the daughter of that druid. Her father, her daughter, the daughter of the person you were looking for, who did agree to help. Turlang was the trench that was over the Citadel of the Green. I forget what it was. It was like an ancient temple to Sylvanas.
Didn't they talk about building a path between Nightstone and Golden Fields through the woods or something like that?
They did. Yeah, they that was eventually completed. There is a road now to where instead of going to Waterdeep and up to, or excuse me, going toward Neverwinter and up to Waterdeep and over and across a long way to get to Goldenfield, there's now a direct path there, which is why the reinforcements from Goldenfields were able to get to Secumber so quickly. And Arcanox, on your pickup of my little bit of a hint, you see a third little owlbear come waddling out of the woods. Obviously a baby, and this is Crash. Or Crash Bandit.
Of course.
God.
I've been
I hate
purposely trying
figuring
to
it
say
out like a half a second before.
I have been purposely trying to say Coot and Bandit rather than Bandit Coot because I thought that would be too obvious, but yeah.
Gotcha.
But no, bravo. But Maple tells you that she defended this place when it was under attack, and soon after, the land revitalized and resurged, and with it came the monstrous changes that have happened. She has. Do you say that? Yeah. She goes, excuse me?
Goldbrain gives her the cliff notes for like, me and a bunch of druids got together and we regrew what was burned after the fires.
So you revitalized the land, thus perhaps unintentionally awakening a bunch of dark spirits and causing my ancestral home to become a hellish landscape.
Ain't that just the ways?
Ain't that just the ways? She
Would I
gives you the
remember
old
that
person.
Would I remember that I helped them do that? As
You did.
former me?
She does describe that there was this beast that was burning down the forest, a beast with 9 heads that was blazing its way across, and you recall not only fighting that, but killing it with Tabitha and your spirits, the Pyrohydra. So you do, in fact, remember bits and pieces of this. The more they talk, the more you're getting these little hints of your previous life. But as this is going on, Tabitha will sort of speak up and go, "Oh, well, I appreciate you coming out here for us. But did you come out just to save us? You said you were scrying on us. Was that just a stroke of luck? Do you scry on us often, Davos?
No. Ark and Pandora showed up,
Insight check. Insight check.
do I got to roll deception?
If
Can I
you
also
if you
roll an
think you're
insight check?
lying, yeah.
Because I was
I
gonna
mean-
make the joke when he first started trying to scry on us, but I left it alone.
I thought we had discussed that occasionally I will. Nothing like voyeur or anything like that. Just as a
But
friendly.
if I tune
hey,
in and y'all are mid-process, no.
Yeah,
I
right.
kid, I kid.
Yeah, it's
Um,
nothing like when we would accidentally scry on Saphine.
She she does believe you and thanks you. So you don't normally scry on us. Why today? Or why that day?
Archnox is gonna pipe up. He's gonna be like,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are not here for pleasure. The Jotun Lords have summoned me into Gene with a disturbing finding, and he kind of like takes out the tiny chest and shows it to Tabitha, and he says, "This is disturbingly similar to what we experienced in Nightstone." I haven't told the rest of you guys this, but a lot of what me and Tajin have been doing is fighting this group that calls themselves the Dragon Cult. They're small time; they just do small raids every now and then, but they keep trying to summon Tiamat from the Nine Hells. And if this is anything to do with that, then
They're trying to do
it's
what?
not common
Bro, you
knowledge.
didn't tell me all that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it in front of Helena, bro.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Wait. Hold on.
But yeah, there might be another apocalypse afoot.
You knew that this fucking dragon fuckers have been trying to summon an evil goddess for the last however longs, and you didn't tell us the Laos? Are you okay? Do you need to be checked?
Tabitha will speak up in Ark's defense. In his defense, there's always somebody trying to bring him back. I mean, that's a perpetual thing. It's very rare that they get close. I think the last time was when Harshnag and Force Grey stopped them, and that was some 30 years ago.
Gobran does that thing when someone says something that makes him feel really old.
Yeah, they're more of like a marauder group more than anything.
That is unfortunate.
But another,
Go ahead.
but as our friend you here, formerly V, was able to help us decipher some of the Nightstone, so I was hoping he would be able to remember some of that.
He holds up this chest to you. It's this little. It's not actually a chest, but it's like a block of obsidian, and it's set with silver and diamonds and sapphires. It's very beautiful, and it has this rune on the front that's in Draconic, ancient Draconic, and you don't quite recognize it. When he's saying, Nightstone, that stuff isn't quite clicking yet.
Okay. I can still choose to examine it, I guess, if you want.
Absolutely.
The whisper in the back of my mind says, Donovan's a hoe, Donovan's a hoe. As I take this thing, I'll examine it for sure.
Yeah, you
want me
take it, you reach out to touch it, and when you do, it sparks you, and you are suddenly flooded with these memories of poring over the Nightstone, this ancient, draconic, infernal Jotun artifact that was used for unspeakable evils, that had contained the soul of a god. You remember these visceral images of Marak being turned inside out, of the Inwis, the young drow girl, being slain. All these horrifying nightmares, the Jotun lords coming back in these monstrous forms of undead. And this all happens within like a fraction of a second. And you pull back, and you're a little more in tune with Z and V than you were before. They've been saying things that have been like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar, almost like a deja vu. But this is the first time you were like, holy shit, this is not the first time I've been around. You've had a hard connection to your. That said, looking at the rune, give me a, I think, let me actually double check this. I think I was using this as a wisdom check.
I think previously you had Arcana, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Arcana will do. Arcana or religion is what I have there, or investigation. And anyone who speaks Draconic may roll that now if you wish.
Okay, don't fail me now. That's a 10.
Arcana or what?
Arcana or religion or investigation. Arc and V have advantage. Arc and you have advantage on this. You think?
Oh yeah, I forgot you gave me advantage. Thank you, and bless you.
Of course. Well, it's because you guys have worked on this.
They're all
It's
about
only
this.
a 12.
Yeah. The mental stats.
Ark, you may have inspiration still from
Holy
first
crap.
session.
The nat 20, but with the 19.
Ah,
I want to honor the nat 20.
look at that.
The -1 modifier is something. How about that? Okay,
And it's
so
great.
you guys, so V, you're not quite making sense of this, but you're sort of talking yourself through it. Like, I know, I remember this. With a 12, you're like, I know this is lightning. And Argonax is like, yeah, that's what Tajin was saying. He says it's an archaic use of lightning. But to me, it says more self. And Argonax, as you're saying that, you sort of realize, I think it's self because it's like a pronoun for dragon. It is a term used among dragons to identify themselves and others, as opposed to like dragonborn and humans and other races. You get that it's not the password is itself or lightning or anything like that. But you have a very strong indicator that this is something to do with Imerit's direct identity. There is something directly about her that is the password for this. I'll give a second to see if anything comes to mind, because this is something that you as players would all know.
So, am I allowed to talk about that? Like, from what Devin thinks that could allude to?
Yeah, I mean, you can, I mean, Goldbrand,
So, like,
I assume,
her title was Doom of the Deserts. That's what my brain jumped to first. She also probably has a draconic name that we never learned. Or maybe we did learn it, I forgot. But if the Doom of the Desert thing was something that tickled her fancy, maybe that's how she thinks of herself.
Arcanox / you, what do you guys choose to do with that information?
Yeah, I'm Goldbrand said. My mind just goes to desert. I remember there was her lair in the desert. It might have something to do with that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like poured over the fight and like who she is, but nothing's really sticking out to me in a crazy way.
She was also the Dragon of Statues, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Would you mind repeating it, Joey?
I'm sorry, repeating which part?
Would whatever was supposed to spark our memory, possibly.
It had something to do with her title, herself, her idea of herself. Devin has got a pretty strong indicator here. You guys start speaking in Draconic, these passwords, desert, dragon of statues, doom. And as you say doom, a burst of lightning erupts from the fireplace, and this large chest, which is quite huge, it's now probably it's 12 times bigger than what it was before, probably about 6 feet wide, about 3.5 feet tall. It's a large obsidian chest. The narrow rivers of silver etchings are now very broad, and they cover the length of each of these sides in this stunningly intricate framing. The sapphire stars are now much larger, and Goldbrand, you in particular, recognize that they are actual constellations. And these sapphires are like the size of the white gem specks that you saw when it was so tiny are full diamonds, each roughly the size of like an acorn, and spaced within these. You have unraveled the mystery of this particular chest. What do you do?
loot
It's a
it.
mimic.
Woes. I like to think
Wouldn't that
you
be
goes
some
to,
shit?
I like to think you goes to open it and Goldbrand's like,
Is that what he said?
woes.
I
Hold
don't know
on.
any better.
I know you don't
I'm
remember.
stupid.
I know you don't remember much, but we have to check things like this first. Can you still make sure things are magical? or
Pandora's
not?
triggered.
This thing
Baby,
is
I'm
going
3
to be
days old.
magicals,
But I can check whatever you want.
I mean, I can do it twos. Go around will cast detect magic.
Detect magic, you get that the a strong presence of magic from the proxy that was used to seal this. You get that there is magic within this chest. The chest itself does not appear to be magical.
You said there are runes on it?
The only rune on it is the rune that is the lightning self rune, sort of like the clue, in other words, of the
I
password.
have to fess up. I don't have detect magic. Oh, I do. I lied. Continue.
That's okay. We love a liar.
Okay, the chest.
Also,
itself is not
bravo
magical.
on Devin on remembering Doom of the Desert. I was gonna see.
Yeah, Doom of the
like,
Desert. I literally sent it to him when you were saying it. I was like, wait, her name was Doom of the Desert. I remember now.
Yeah, I was gonna it's gonna be a DC 25 to get that particular detail, but if they remember organically, I'll allow it. So bravo.
That's her thing.
So if you guys are still skeptical, you can I don't know. It's not magically trapped. You can make an investigation check to look for regular traps.
I'd
or you can
say,
just pop it up.
honestly, with what just happened, our Arcanauts would just open without thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not scared of that. I'm just gonna open it. It's
Okay.
stupid.
Nice. You open this, and there is the head of a blue dragon within it. At least that's what you think initially. It is actually a very intricate and beautiful mask of a blue dragon head. I have an image for this. I thought I had it in this thingamajig, but I do not, because I'm a fuck, I guess.
We say Kajigger here.
I do not have this particular kajigger. I do not have this particular fuck to give.
Is it on the drive? Can I show it that way?
It is on the drive. It's under the items, but I thought I had a quick one here for easy drop, drag and drop. Drag and drop.
So by unraveling this riddle, are we helping or hurting?
Well, y'all, the riddle was just to get inside the chest.
Right, like we're not unlocking the stones that keep this soul trapped or anything kind of thing, huh?
I mean, right now it just seems like a mask. You can, if you look within the chest, you see this dragon mask. You also see a scroll that is written in that same ancient draconic. Thank you, Devin. This is sort of a rudimentary imagining of what the mask looks like. It very much appears to be like the actual face of a blue dragon. It's kind of off-putting. And I would say that Tabitha and Yuan, immediately, you guys think of the white figure that you met in the woods that appeared to be partially draconic. And it very much reminds you of that. This scroll that is written in the ancient draconic will require an investigation check to try to decipher. Arcanox and Z, you are the only two who can do this, and you do not have advantage because now you're trying to not decipher a single rune, but like whole lines of text.
Don't want to like meta play, but I'm like, what's your investigation? Can I give you
Ark, you might still have inspiration.
That's fair. You both can roll. Like you don't have to choose one or the other for what that's worth. Or one of you can roll with advantage.
You said it was investigation.
I can play a song.
Just investigation for this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give me bardic inspiration. What are you doing over there? Come on.
I was about to
just
say I
make
can
it
play a
one.
song.
Play us a little ditty.
Is that a 13 for investigation? Ark, did you still want to try to roll for that? You want him to roll with advantage?
Oh, roll with advantage. My investigation was -1.
Oh, okay.
See what you got, dog. So the Cora
17?
17 is pretty good. So initially, you think it's like a list of some kind. You pick out certain things, like you can pick out colors, but it's kind of difficult to decipher because again, it is that ancient dialect, and you're trying to remember a language from a past life. You also think that some of them are locations. Roll a d6 for me.
Why don't you just be like a kid's coloring book? A draconic
Yes.
kid's coloring book?
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're having some trouble deciphering the colors of the locations, but you do get When 5 crowns meet, and the ruby bleeds crimson, shall the Dragon Queen return, and with her extinction.
Ew.
Of course, when you translate anything to English, it rhymes.
I remember
Tropes
the last
do
time
that.
I translated something that rhymed and it didn't end very well.
You get a little bit of a flash of that. You get that this isn't magical, like this text isn't magical, but it's like someone recorded a prophecy or something of import.
I don't like the whole bleeding ruby thing.
That's cause for concern for sure.
Oh, wait a
A
second,
lot of
aren't you a
concern.
Ruby Dragonborn?
It probably definitely
dude.
references your death,
We know
Art.
Art doesn't need.
In service of the ruby dragon.
Just the Ruby Dragon.
I see him holding the mask. I slap it out of his hand. I'm like, stop touching things you don't understand.
The ruby dragon is not dead, Devin.
That's what I'm saying. Or worse, the Ruby Dragon's death. Its blood used
Oh,
to summon Tiamat's. Fuck that shit. Maybe you should burn that. You know,
Are
I
there
don't know how I
5
feel about it.
dragon kings and queens?
So you guys understand that in the Draconic Pantheon, that there for the longest time were just the 2 figures. Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon, who was the leader of the Metallic Dragon and source of the good balance of this, and then Tiamat, the 5-headed Dragon Queen. These are both very well-known figures in mythology. Y'all don't have to have any experience in Draconic to know this. The Ruby Dragon was the 3rd sort of the one that complete the triangle of that neutral dragon god who led the Gemstone Dragons. You guys, of course, know that he was trapped within the Nightstone, and thanks to your actions, freed and allowed to go to his own demiplane. You do think that him appearing in the material plane before departing would not go unnoticed by Tiamat or Bahamut, for that matter. That is the presence of a very powerful force that is connected to them on like the level of creation, that is bound to them in such a way that they would recognize its presence once again in the world. That could be unrelated to this. When Emerith died, the Ruby Dragon had not been back yet, but there is a blue mask in here, and the lines that when 5 crowns meet, the ruby bleeds crimson, shall the Dragon Queen return, and with her extinction.
5 crowns.
You weren't lying about that apocalypse arc.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Arc.
Yeah, this is much worse than I thought.
Tabitha will probably say, the figure that we encountered, the one who killed V, who brought that pit fiend in, he wore something similar to this. A white man.
Tell me about him.
It's hard to say. We didn't really have a lot of encounters with him. He seemed to have he seemed to be human, had a dragon head, not like a dragonborn like you. His flesh was humanoid, but it was pale and white, his nails black. His head almost seemed hooded like a cobra. He was malignant and vile, and it just set my hair on him just to look at him. He was in the clearing, and she looks to Maple and says, Maple will say, the area just north of here, beyond the blood bog.
What?
Oh, she takes a second. It's best you just look for yourself. She's gonna lead you guys outside real quick. Take you sort of behind her cabin. I'm gonna kind of hijack your token here. And shows you a rather nightmarish sight. A
Fate's
swamp.
nightmarish.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it. I'm ruined for it, man.
A swamp that appears to be entirely comprised of blood. She explains to you that when the battle came through, many, of course, were killed, and the blood sort of pooled here in this natural low point within the valley, and it perpetuated. There's leeches in it that are rather fearsome. More, it's beyond that. You would have, and you're on a cliff face overlooking this. She's like, you're quite you'd have to go through the bog to get there. You could go through the briars to the north, and try to get a little more direct, but there's wicked things in there too. Or if you go south through Zelbros, you're less likely to encounter. You cut through some of the bog. You still have to cross a fraction of it, but there's pretty monstrous things down that way. I don't know if you've experienced the shambling mound of corpses that makes its way to the graveyard, but it's not something I want to get too close to.
I was actually wondering if we want to go back and take care of that now. I believe that should be up to the Dawnbringers. But that is a discussion for another times.
I had a really stupid idea about how to deal with this.
You cut out for a second there. How to deal with the what?
He said he had a real stupid idea for
No, I said I have a really stupid idea on how to deal with this, man.
I'm listening.
So Arcanox has a flying speed and a strength of 22. So I could just ferry y'all over all this shit, maybe.
You get the idea that because of the way the brambles are, you could, but there would be some checks involved. And if they were to fall, Lord knows what is within the waters, the blood bog.
I wouldn't want to go by myself.
I have shape water. Blood's got water in it, for sure.
I'm down bloodbender.
That'd be something you'd have to experiment with.
I kind of want to experiment with
I
it.
also have shape water.
Gruesomely.
Yeah, so from the
control
cliff,
water.
again, like the
I
the
can
sort of-
cast fly.
you guys could try to fly over it. If enough of you could fly, and the chance would be minimal, because if it's one of you ferrying people back and forth, you have to make a check every time and hope that nobody drops. And then if somebody does drop, then you guys are separated. You also know that if you ferry one person across and come back, and then other people get if something happens over there while you're on your way to help the other people get across, they could be in danger. With multiple of you flying, that is a little better, but again, you're going to have to sort of try to navigate around the what's the word I'm looking for? Around the brambles and the branches to fly across anyway. So there's going to be checks involved pretty much no matter how you cross.
I think fly only works for one person.
What if I cast Fireball?
It sounds like
Arcanox
can
really
fly.
wants to go take this place down.
Goldbrand can fly
Yeah.
himself. How many people could you, if you upcast it? I think you could get more people. At this point, I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't go around, kill the shambling mound of corpses and make our way a roundabout way.
Okay. Well,
The
before
only
we do
problem-
that, sorry, I'm just gonna ask the DM. I assume I've taken a long rest at some point during this.
Yes, yeah. From your time that you've been in battle with the Pit Fiend, yes, you have.
Cool.
How do we get?
I can also make myself fly now then.
If you mention that casually as Goldbrand, Maple will say, I want you to make no mistake. Your friend is still very much wounded. You brought her back, which is great, but she needs to recover. She's by no means battle ready. And Tabitha will nod along in agreement. And I think it would be best if I were to rest up a bit. I don't even know if I can carry my blade, let alone swing it.
You need to go see
Well-
Stone Spires about that arms. Goldbrand will call him Vindicator. It's his title. Right?
Oh, he certainly could be of good help.
Do you reckon that? I mean, I took a long rest, so I can always swap a spell. But do you think that at this point, I would offer a teleportation circle to get her back to Nightstone? I guess. I don't know if I would know that the teleportation circle's there, but I could take the spell and do it.
I was actually going to ask you if you still had it, so I feel like maybe Davos could ask, hey, can you still teleport?
And you suddenly remember, oh, yeah, that is a thing I could do. It's weird because you're a sorcerer, so naturally your powers come from your ancestry anyway. It's just weird that your ancestor is you, and so you sort of have
Futurama.
you sort of a lesson in history from Mr. I'm my own grandpa. So you understand that you have that capability. You probably could send her there. You know it would be a good bit of power, and that if you needed to do it again, if you teleported her back and then tried to fight something, you may not have. If you aren't careful with how you resource stuff, I did do the nasty and the fancy. If you aren't careful with your resources, you could end up not being able to teleport yourself back today.
Right.
And if Tabitha will say, well, I don't need to rush back right now.
I want to be here if I can. If y'all get back here and need healing, I can help with that. But I'm here in whatever capacity you need.
I'll look her in the eyes and I'll say, if you think that you'll be okay here for just a little bit, we can handle this without you. I can send you back if you want, but it's up to you.
I'd rather stay close. Know that if y'all did need something, and I was able to assist. Davos, you will also remember that Bergen said, if you guys find yourself in a pinch, to call upon him. Now, Bergen, as a cleric, does not have access to teleportation magic, but he said that with enough emphasis that you gather he could send you aid in some way, if you got in a pinch. Verily.
Which also, I've been waiting to bring it up. You asked what brought us here. It was that, and Bergen had mentioned some knights of our orders had gone missing, so we're here to investigate that as well.
When you say that, Maple stiffens a bit and says, "Oh, I should have realized. I didn't even pay too much attention to the emblem on your armor. Yes, so several men made their way through about a week ago. They went to the clearing northwest across from the crossroads, and I heard a lot of screaming. I didn't investigate too closely until the next day when I thought that whatever threat there was had passed. I don't know if any of them have made it, but I know several of them had to have died."
That's horrible news, but not entirely unexpected. Did you happen to glean by what means?
Cannot say for sure. I do my best to go out only when necessary. And thankfully, with Crash Bandit and Coot, they help keep me safe when I do need to go out. I do not know what caused it, but I know that undead, fiends, monstrosities, all manner of things haunt these woods. You mentioned earlier about going back to kill something, and while I would be very grateful of that, I think you have to cut it off at the root, as it were. That shambling mound of corpses did not spring up naturally. Something made that fucker. Something stitched that together with malice and dark magics. For that, you'll probably you'll need to go see the. She wouldn't know to call it that. Tabitha would say, the figure that we saw, there is a tower in the distance. It might be based out of that. It might. I don't know.
That's a good
I was gonna
avoidance
ask
in it.
if I would remember that or be able to lead people back to that with any assistance.
Yeah, you remember after picking up Tabitha, when you crossed part of the Bloody Bog, trying to make your way, away as best you could from whatever this thing was. You made your way through a dense area of spider webs and brambles. You crossed through a graveyard, even though you didn't understand that's what it was at the time. You could retrace your steps well enough based on Yu's memory. But you heard some foul shit. In fact, roll a d20 for me. Roll a 15 or higher.
You don't have to tell me twice. 15 or higher coming up.
Ooh, there you go. So it's so funny. I'm saying your name, but it's also just you. You do also recall this entity that you saw tearing into someone. This person was dead, and thankfully, because of it eating, it was distracted. But this horrific thing with bear-like features, long, muscular arms, a mouth of razor-sharp teeth, and a stomach with a second mouth that was also filled with these teeth, and just tearing
Gluttony.
someone
Ew.
apart. One more time.
Gluttony, hello.
Gluttony, and just tearing into this thing. You, of course, again, hours old, if not less at that point, had no frame of reference for what this was. But it is just stuck out to you as exceptionally horrific. You know there's all sorts of creepy shit in these woods. No matter what way you go, you're going to end up fighting something nasty.
God, I imagine Yuan, like, having just barely been born, just assumed that, like, he was living in an apocalypse. Was like, why was I born into this? This is terrible. I would convey that to the party and explain, like, some of the things that I've seen along the way, and let them know that there do not seem to be safe areas in this forest, and that the journey to where we're probably trying to go likely won't be safe or clean.
You may not
Well-
may not understand this yet, but we're kind of used to that.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like there's a good path. But we just need to go find our friend who killed your last iteration you.
You guys seem to have 3 ways of going about doing it. You could travel on foot, either northeast through the brambles and across the bog, which would have to cross a good bit of the bog. You could go back through Zelbros, cross over the graveyard, continue up a ways that way, and cross through a narrower chunk of the bog. You could try to fly over the bog, but it would be difficult. But none of the ways are going to be easy.
So we backtrack.
Let's say personally, I like the idea of a narrow chunk of bog. Like, at least then maybe we can control the battlefield in some way, or get caught in a bad spot. I guess either one is possible.
And that was where the pile of corpses was?
Yes, sir.
I vote for whatever path uses the least number of spell slots.
Yeah.
Well, then you would.
Just
Me,
I think
if we go back to the
narrow
graveyard-
bog.
Yeah, if
That's
we have
fine.
to go back to the graveyard,
Yeah,
we might
no.
have to tangle with that thing, but I agree that maybe trying to find... The only thing I'm afraid of the narrow thing is getting trapped, like, on a bridge, which would suck, but I don't want to walk through the bog either, so...
I'll just cast a spell behind us, it's fine.
The
Well,
quickest...
what's her-
Yeah, we got
Maple-
AoE, man.
Maple would explain that there's no bridges through the bog. Just if you come at it from the western bank, you're going to have to cross through pretty much the entire bog to get to the other side, to get to this, where this circle was, where the pit fiend was. Whereas if you come at it from the south, you have to cross a narrower channel of it. There's still, it's not like you're going to be combined on a bridge. There are pathways
I feel
across.
that's just
but
the
it's-
smallest amount to cross.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's the best choice.
And she warns that I don't know many things about these things that prowl these woods, but the leeches in the bog, they can drain you dry. They could exhaust your powers. And warns you to be careful.
Are those Haktua leeches?
Shut the fuck up.
I
Oh
was
my
about to say,
god.
Bobrand is just old enough
Yeah,
to
spit on him.
waggle his eyebrows at her when she says drain you dry.
Speaking of,
God.
like and subscribe this video.
Yes.
Blah, 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 whatever.
Oh yeah.
Green highlight. Only took 2 sessions. Good job.
Well, Maple, how can we repay you for helping our friends here?
Not letting anything in on your way out would be a start. No,
Yes.
I'll keep an eye on Tabitha. If you find yourself in need of rest, you can make your way back here. Like I've said, the ground is hollowed, so it's protected from fiends and undead, which covers the vast majority of what's out here. Just be careful. Don't end up. If you do end up getting yourself killed, don't expect me to come out and save you.
Well, I don't really use names in my songs, but I think I'm going to write a song about you. So if you ever hear about Chernobyl Grandma Beastmaster, know that that's about you.
I was thinking, hey, Mrs. Robinson, but okay, yeah, Chernobyl Beastmaster Grandma, that's pretty badass. She looks at you
You
like,
know,
"Well,
sorry for my friend Goldbrand for making your land a living hell.
Well, in some ways, I think the younger generations have grown soft. My granny probably thought the same about me. This might just help me put some. It's been a. I've grown a lot tougher in the last 7 years. I thought I was tough before, but goddamn, no, I am. I feel like I can handle myself in pretty much any situation now.
Might be best to stay here for a while. I
I
think
plan
You're
to
not,
be here.
whatever is out there. He also can stab us the bird.
Oh, tr-
You don't
trust
by
me, I
chance
plan to-
partake in bloodweed, huh? My friend has some here if you'd like a little.
Not since the 1360s, no.
Oh,
Can I pet
She
your
will say-
owlbears?
One more time.
Can I pet your owlbears?
Oh yes, Crash and Bandit and Coot are all very nice. Be careful. I wouldn't run right up on the little one, but and Goldbrain, you speak Sylvan, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Yeah, you can you grunt in the same way that you play with your bears, and the bigger bears reciprocate, and
Or wants to pet them on his way out?
onward.
Excellent. So you guys have found V and Tabitha. You and Tabitha. You are making your way back out. Is the plan to go back down to the graveyard? As far as I'm understanding?
Before we leave, I want to kiss Tabitha on the forehead and tell her, stay here, stay safe.
Oh, that's very sweet. I'm gonna see if she has a little something she can give you.
Ew.
Like candy or something. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. That's disgusting.
A rare candy, got it. I'm going to level up. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he said.
Let's go with that instead,
I like how
please.
you couldn't see me waggling my eyebrows and you said it anyway.
Oh god. Yeah, I think she's gonna do. She can give a bless, but how long will that last? It only lasts a
think
minute,
it's
so
like-
it's not very long.
How long does Bardic Inspiration last? She's not a
Oh,
bard.
that's a good
Oh,
point.
she is
10
a bard.
minutes?
I'm gonna look at one other thing.
I thought it was longer than 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes.
She
At least
will.
mine. I don't know if Tabitha has special inspiration.
No, I think it's.
Oh, she
I think it's about the
does.
same for 10 minutes. Shut up. She will actually. She begins to sing, and sings a rather mournful tale, about her. We're gonna roll it real quick. 2. Oh, this is actually very helpful. Okay. She is going to do, she sings this song, and it's the song of a specter. Specter that made its way through the night, not because it was a ghost, but because it felt detached from the world. It was a living entity, but thought itself not worthy of this realm, or of a different kind of nature of the realm. It's very beautiful and sad in a lot of ways. It's the first time you've heard Tabitha sing in this form, but she, as she sings, you see this sort of spectral image dance, and it's the phantom. And as she does this, it flies through you, and you can choose as an action. You can expend this to become invisible until the end of your next turn, or until you hit a creature with an attack. If the target hits a creature with an attack during this invisibility, the target it hits takes necrotic damage equal to a roll of your bardic inspiration die, and is frightened until the end of the creature's next turn.
Love that, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this in chat, but this is specifically for V as an action to use. Boop-a-dap, 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 bop.
And as a note, as we leave, I want to take up the tail, and I'm going to turn around and use a couple of cast of Mold Earth, which is a cantrip, to raise the ground 5 feet behind us to sort of make like a small earthen wall to segregate this area from the rest of the forest.
Very nice. As you guys make your way up, like Cyper and Russ raise up their branches and allow you guys to pass under unimpeded. And with that, you guys find yourself once again in the crossroads.
What did we do with the mask?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
I was just thinking.
Stuff at the back.
You'll put it in the bag of holding. You can put it back in the chest. I think technically you can reactivate the proxy chest to make it small again.
I think that's the best idea.
Okay, so you put the sheet with the runes on it, the mask back in the chest. You say the command word, You get the proxy once again. And you also
Before
have
we
the
put
bag
it
of
in
holding.
the chest, would I be
Yeah.
able to put the mask on? Is it that kind of mask?
If you try to do that, I'm going to slap it out of your hand, straight up.
I mean, you can certainly try if you would like to try, Brent.
I don't want to put it on my head. I just want to bring it close to my face to see, like, could I actually do it?
It is meant to be worn. You would gather, even just from anyone who wants to, can make an Arcana check, or cast Detect Magic, or Identify. But an Arcana check would be good
Gladly.
enough to give you a baseline.
That's a 1.
Oof. Yu's over here like, what the fuck is magic?
I've seen this before and I'm scared.
I got a 6.
Oh,
It was almost,
nice.
it was almost a
Wow.
dirty
I don't know,
20.
Hey guys, we suck.
Pandora, Goldbrand, it's up to y'all. I mean,
So,
this is a problem of WotC for making only wizards the intelligence-based character, and later artificers, but you know, they should be more than one intelligence-based character. Oh my god, we all suck.
Bro,
so
I rolled
actually
the
did-
highest and I rolled a nat 1.
Somewhere, Deimos is crying somewhere in the distance. With a nat 1, 6, it looks like a mask. You can put it on. I mean,
I had fully intended on putting it on, but you said he saw me and he would smack it out. The whole intent was just to put it on and kind of freak you out because that's what
Nope.
kind of killed him. But he caught me, so he ruined the surprise. So I would not put it
1000%.
on.
I will slap it out of your hand so fast if you try to put that thing on your face. I don't even know what it does. I don't know if it's going to be bad, but I'm still not going to let it happen.
We do know it's magical.
Jeez, I was just trying to
Dawnbringers.
spoke you a little bit.
Yeah.
We do know it's magical Dawnbringers. That could be dangerous.
I mean, I heard it makes your fingernails black.
you
That other guy, he had a dragon face and black fingernails. Maybe he got some cool powers. Power
really-
word kill.
Do you really want the dragon face? I mean, I know you're uglies, but I don't know if that would be an improvement.
Okay, if I do put it on, you're the first one I power word kill. No,
You can fucking try.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm not putting it on. I think I agree with Golly. Let's put it back in the chest. Shrink the chest.
Yeah.
No one likes
Um,
big chests.
I will say, even though no one rolled well, you guys can tell it's very clearly magical. Shut up. You can very much tell it's magical. It is hyper clean in a way that a normal mundane object would not be. But yeah, I definitely get the idea that putting it on could be very good or it could be very bad. You can't quite tell.
I do have to ask you, because I know that's like sort of a wizard thing, but if I spent time with this, like if I just sat down somewhere later and just spent time with it, could I make a few checks to see if I could determine what it does?
So you could choose to attune to it, in which case you would learn its properties. If you do not want to attune to it, you would have to probably cast Identify or something of, or Legends Lore or something of the like. You gather that this being an important artifact that one of a set to bring back Tiamat, this is a very powerful artifact. It is not just like +1 item or something. It's there's only one of this blue mask.
Gotcha.
One of us
Gotcha.
set to do what?
Ooh, it could be
To
one of
do
the 5
nothing.
crowns.
Ignore.
Can an object be considered good or evil? Like, would I be able to tell it's, hey, it's cursed or evil?
Object. Finding curses is tricky. Identify won't tell you if an item is cursed, nor will detect magic. Good or evil.
Just from my divine sense.
I do not think an item in itself could be good or evil. So I'm going to say no. Like if it had sentience, then perhaps you could determine if that was good or evil. But even the Devil's Dance rapier that you once had might have been considered an evil object. But it's really who's using it, right? They've been sinking to the
Okay.
hills.
All right. Yeah, I think keeping it locked up is best for now.
So you'll put it in the chest,
definitely.
say the command word, it goes down to the proxy. You have the proxy on you, you put the proxy in the bag of holding. What's the deal?
By the way, I speak Sylvan too, so What did Goldbrand say to the owlbear?
He called them good little boys. He says, "Oh, you're so fucking cute." He's like trying to scratch their chin and stuff. Like,
Because I imagine that like Goldbrand doesn't like to show like affection like that. Like,
Affection.
and he like totally baby talked this thing,
Oh
and
yeah.
I would just like say in Sylvan that was cute to Goldbrand right afterwards.
Yeah, I'm about to say earlier, him showing affection to Gideon by giving him the hangover cure. That's the most affection you've ever seen him give to Gideon. There have
I
been
might
3 or
even
4
add,
points in that.
you're growing soft in your old age in Sylvan, not for anybody else to hear.
so we're just like creaking at each other like trees.
I like to imagine it's almost like bee speech. It's little chatters and chitters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see, like to think he goes to say something snarky, and then he says quieter. I'm actually surprised to see that you're here. It was my understanding most of the children settle down after they have their first descendant. Stay sharp. It would be unfortunate if you didn't return to them.
It's not ominous.
I imagine that it had like the slightest tone of a threat in there as well.
Goldberg's like, I will leave you in this forest. I have left Betherman to die of worse fates. All right.
That
we
seems
are
apt.
we are approaching midnight. Before we proceed with whatever caliber we proceed, are we wanting to stop at midnight? Are we thinking 12:30? What is the group feeling? Devin's eating
I ain't
ice
seen-
cream, so that's never a good sign.
I ain't see no Smokey yet.
Actually, it's a crumble cookie. It's
Shit.
a strawberry shortcake crumble cookie. I've never had
even
crumble
worse.
cookie before, and wow. I'm good to try for 12:30 if y'all are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to keep going just a little bit, if you can.
Yeah, we'll proceed as far as we can get in that reasonable amount of time.
I will have
you
to
guys
play
make
with
Just
you
carry
first.
Goldbrain on a stretcher while he takes his grandpa nap.
Accurate though. As you guys come back to the crossroads, you know that you left is your way back to Zelbros and the cemetery. That north is the area that Mabel described the attack on the knights, and that to the right is a bramble that will lead you to the blood bog. Which way do you proceed?
I thought we were going south.
Yeah, I was about to say we wanna go to wherever the narrow strip is to cross, and it's my understanding that takes us by that mound of corpses.
It does. I just wanted to see it. Just make sure that Davos did not want to check on the northern passage. If you do not want to, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that that offer was extended.
Did you guys check the northern passage at all on your way here?
No, I think that was one of the
I don't think
3
so.
ways.
We
Trying
kind
to
of
I
have
wanted
it
to.
focused
here.
on the tracks
Like-
for a second.
You guys do what you want, you know?
I mean, we can take a look if we want, but I think Davos wanted the mound of corpses dead, and it sounds like we're going that way anyway. It can't hurt. Pandora's, do you want to take a
But
look?
Maple led
Well,
me
the
to
fiends to the
believe
north.
that we couldn't just burn these corpses. We'd have to get rid of the evil putting them there.
Yeah.
Less so that you
I'd
could
rather
kill
fight
it certainly, but what the thing that made it is still out there. It could make another. I think is what she was sort of.
I'd rather fight the bigger threat.
Right, like the woods here are hosed, but you're gonna have to
Both
fight your way
ways.
through to get to what's actually causing the woods to be hosed.
I was about to
Okay.
say HOSE or HOES. Hosed or
HOSED. Gotta put a D on there because it's hosed.
Hosed.
I'm good with trying to do what we talked about, but Stone Spire was concerned about these knights, so I don't want to
Well, and they're-
completely forget about them.
And they're also part of your knights. It's half Agent of Helm, half Agents of Lavender.
Open remembers that Bergen brought him back from the dead, and he goes, "We should probably go check on those."
These were my other brothers in arms. I think there was a sister. She might have stayed back.
You have siblings?
Consider them tribesmen. Bearclaw.
Bear claw.
Well,
Let us go look.
Imagine like smacks your stomach where you're getting a little thicker in the middle there too.
Too much of the ball bear brewing.
I guess
Um,
if they're victims of the thing we're hunting, then I guess that would count. Yeah.
But you do remember my sister, Goldbrand.
Yeah, Davos does have a younger sister,
Cobra might have
whose,
doesn't. Shame.
whose name is escaping me right now. I keep wanting to say Alyssa, but that's not her. That's your daughter,
Anessa?
Nessa. So similar, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, she was like the Fae Fighters #1 fan. Was always like super stoked for their concerts and stuff. And, yeah, all that jazz.
She was small NPC. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I do think
Um,
Goldbrand would remember.
Okay, fair enough.
Sounds like you guys do want to check out the northwestern passage. At least glance at it. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. I put my hand on Goldbrand's shoulder and I'm like,
Yes.
he can't hear me. It's like, I hear that you cannot see very well. Should I guide you?
It's not
Davos in the
necessary.
back. Okay.
It's not necessary at these times. I won't fall, but I do not know what you look like anymore. If that matters to you at all.
A man with his pride. Fair enough. And then I lean into Goldbrand's ear and I whisper, I think he called us gay. Should I kill him?
Like I said, listen to halves of what that one says. Half's very good, half's just meant to raise your ire.
Fair enough. We'll proceed.
You guys make your way
Girlfriend,
a little northward.
steps on Yu's heel once or twice, like pretending like he can't see very well. Like, flat
Asshole.
tires him.
Yeah. You guys make your way up a little bit to the north. I imagine doing so cautiously, but we don't have to roll any stealth checks. Oh. Did Ark just die?
I try to drag him up and instead he disappeared.
I think we were okay. There we go. I think we were both trying to move them at the same time. You guys make your way up to a rather blood-splattered scene. You cross the ridge, and the first thing you see, no matter which direction you are facing, is blood splattered across the rocky soil, across nearby trees and cliffs. Clear signs of battle, but in a disturbing array. These bone spire javelins that you saw on the bottom of the ridge, you see several of these here. Anybody who wants to can try to make a perception check to see if they can figure out what happened here.
Sure. Perception's awful, but you can always roll a nat 20 or a 1.
Or a 1. You can always roll a 1. 21. That's pretty solid. Oh, Ben, you're real choppy. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Devin, you can roll a perception check to try to figure out what happened here. And then I need everyone just to roll a flat d20. Don't roll a 1. You.
Hey, you don't gotta call me out for rolling 1s all the time. Okay.
It's either 1s or 20s with you, really. You guys check this out. And I think Barb had the highest with the 21, so you get a decent bit. The blood splatter radius and direction suggest one singular point of origin from an attack on a large number of concentrated targets. You gather from this that the troops were marching, perhaps in formation or in a defensive perimeter. The Bone Devil likely planted itself somehow in the center of them and sent all these spikes out. You can see clear signs of armored boots entering from the southern path, and then stopping suddenly within this ring of blood. The boots do not exit. There are countless small holes speckled across the battlefield. What did you roll, Davos? Did you roll?
I think it was a 5
5. Okay.
on the d20.
No, I'm sorry. On the perception check.
Oh, I didn't roll. Okay, give me just a second.
No, you're good, dog. None of you rolled the 1 on the 20, so you're good there. There's something that you might in particular notice. 5. Okay.
27.
27? Oh, damn.
Yeah, on perception.
Okay, that's good to know. Davos, you even see on a tree nearby one of these bone skewers pierced an eyeball, and there's like bits of brain matter. This thing literally shot through somebody's eye and pinned it to this tree. You also see a bit of shredded tunic. A bloody sun, a symbol of Lathander, stares at you. And you know this to be the site where they were attacked. You do see signs of other fiendish involvement. You see that the earth is scattered with ash, which you understand would be the remnants if you killed a fiend on this plane. You examine the javelins and know that they are certainly of the Bone Devil. And reassessing the battlefield, you devise the Bone Devil leapt in and burst these spines out. But that there were other things involved as well. You can't see tracks, but just based on how the troops reacted, that there were other things there to stop. You see that a lot of them were taken from this spot as is. Not dragged, but relocated in some way. That's pretty much all you get from this particular location. You know that a Bone Devil was definitely responsible and that it likely had other fiendish help.
I would relay that to the group, and as I pull the bone out of the tree with the eyeball, I could say, yeah, I don't think they saw it coming.
The eyeball rolls.
Goldbrand would ask Davos, is this some things you would have expected them to be able to handle?
You sent them
DM help?
specifically to look for barbed devils, B-A-R-B-E-D, barbed devils, which are a much lesser caliber of fiend. Even if there had been a bone devil, they probably could have handled that in their numbers, but obviously there are bigger things at play here. You know that the pit fiend was in the area. It could have been a part of this. And you know, whatever brought those is bringing these entities here, that could certainly bring other fiendish entities.
Yeah, and I think, was it Bergen who said we were going to need help, or that was just DM guidance? Hey, you guys need to bring as many people as you can.
Yeah, he was like, you know, we can't send our normal troops into this. This is not something that is for foot soldiers. This is something for champions that are of a higher caliber. And so he wanted you to get, you know, Ark and Pandora and Goldbrand and V, and have them assist you in this.
Okay.
Goldbrand's only
Yeah.
question left would be a quiet, where did it goes?
I don't see any tracks. Maybe the pile of corpses.
Alright, yeah. Can all of you watch my backs? Just a second.
Sure.
Are you about to do the
Yeah.
thing?
Knows different things. He gives a sus look to you, who's like, sure, you know, 25 minutes after meeting him. Goldbrand's gonna cast Commune with Nature.
I was wondering if you were going to buzz there.
Yeah, it's time. We have everybody. I haven't looked at it. It doesn't tell me what the specific components are.
In 3 miles, that's very good.
Yeah. And so it says particularly I can find powerful celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead. He's gonna look for it in that within 3 miles of himself, but he also wants, you know, he's trying to canvas that area.
Yeah.
What around here is a threat to them? Can he find the Bone Devils specifically? It's like a, you know, you can see the
it's very
description
good.
there. Does some cool stuff.
I like to think that you walk over to the trees, place your hand on the bark, and sort of speak in Sylvan. And Goldbrand's eyes. Your magic is green, right? Is that correct? Didn't know.
Goldbrand's magic look like the cosmos or stars or.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You open your eyes, and it is galaxies and Milky Way, and the very stuff of creation that not only the trees, but you, the earth, the weapons you carry, everything is made from the same basic building blocks, and you tune into these. And the trees tell you that what they've seen. Their interconnected roots forming some vast mycelium network almost. And you are the progenitor of that. You made this forest. And so it is extremely forthcoming in the information it provides to you. It tells you that there has been something, not fiend, fey, or undead. Well, I suppose so. A type of half-life undead creature that has been bringing these fiends here. That has been allowing them to come freely, and in doing so has tilted the balance. This forest used to be a place of just monstrous entities and natural beasts, and now these fiendish entities have disrupted that balance. It tells you of the corpses that were once nourishment for their roots far to the south have supplanted themselves in something that is much darker, crafted by the same half-life figure. It tells you that that there are plants just to the east of you who devour corpses whole, but provide them with some sick semblance, some mockery of life, make them puppets of them. It tells you of the blood bog and the leeches, some of which are enormous and are not to be trifled with. That they have seen them kill beasts not by defeating them in the traditional way, but by drawing enough of their blood that they have not the strength to pull themselves out of the bog and they drown in the blood. It tells you of a massive tower of bone in the far eastern reaches of the wood that this living entity dwells in. It tells you of this foul and monstrous beast that you are piecing together is one part the bear tracks you've seen, one part the monster that Yuan spoke of with two mouths, that is some horrendous, malignant corruption of the natural order of things. They tell you of all this, and it goes on for miles and miles and miles. You rebirthed this forest with nothing but good intentions, and many of the druids who worked with you saw this was not a foreseeable outcome. This is only because of the life that was given to such an accursed land, and with such dark, dark creatures providing the rot and nourishment that made this forest so twisted and aberrant as it has become. I am not
Unbounces
hearing.
head. Oh,
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Goldburn like unbalances his head from conversing with the nature around him. Like he emotionally rages in a way. He says, I might have fucked ups here. He tells them immediately about the bone tower to the northeast. Is that what you said? You know, he gives them his
I think
best,
it's to the far east from your
far
exact
east.
location.
He says there is a place, it seems, where much of this is stemming from. I think we'll find whatever it was that did you in. There's a lot of shit. Yeah, there's a lot of shit between here and theirs, and a lot of wrongs to be righted. We have a long ways to go, I think. Be careful. Goldbrand will fill them in on everything specific you said. The man-eating plants that make marionettes. The leeches in the blood bog. Like, he'll give them the whole sit rep at the best of his ability.
Honestly, gave the
Say at the
Go ahead, Doc.
was at the mention of at the mention of the being that is of undeath kind of thing, Argonauts kind of gulps at that one.
Spooky shit in their hills. As you draw away Goldbrand, do you have anything further to ask? Because they do provide you with information. If there is
Yeah,
something
it
you
says I
actively
get to
are seeking.
gain. I instantly gain up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following. How many of those would you say you fulfilled? For sure, influence from other planes, and did you answer specifically powerful celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead? Because if he can find that bone fiend, he lost.
That's a fair point. So you they tell you that not only of just the bone devil, but of a large red-skinned devil that has been about recently. You would gather that to be the pit fiend. It also tells you of what it describes as a burning angel, which doesn't necessarily correlate directly in your understanding of the fiends, but I think if you were to tell Davos, he would associate that pretty quickly with an Aranyes, a very powerful, angelic-looking but very powerful devilish entity. I think that another thing you would gain is the it says influence of other planes of existence.
I feel like you covered that.
Well, it tells you that while these entities are fiendish, there is no place where the veil is thinned between realms. I'm trying to base it off of what they know, that there is the material plane and the fiendish plane are not close here. This is not something that a portal that has been opened or something. So do with that what you will. I think everything else they provided will fill in the other ones. The only real body of water that is of import is the Blood Bog. There is a river to the far east as well, the southeast, if I'm not mistaken. But those are the only ones that are of import.
Sounds like there are opportunities to avenge deaths. He'll tell them that he can vaguely, is that right? So it doesn't say where they are, huh? The Pit Devil and the Bone Devil are in the areas. At least within a couple of miles. We could hunt either ones, or try to find the towers. You didn't seem to like that the mention of that. You didn't seem to like the mention of that, Ark. You know something about Bone Towers?
Not particularly, but with everything I've learned, this black draconic figure is obviously responsible.
This is his.
What makes you say that?
Well, the being with the ability to cast Power Word Death, like Power Word Kill, a bunch of fiends around with no known portal, it's not adding up.
I see. I guess the question now is, do we kill the other devils, or do we just go kill hims?
Trying to decide how much I know. I think I know enough to get us back that general direction. I think I also know that whatever came out of that tower killed me. It left to go to the tower and then came back because I killed whatever it summoned. I think I would just...
It started to make its way there, and then when you finish its thing before it could even get back, it was like, what the fuck is this motherfucker? You would also know geographically, I think, based on the spell, Devin, that you go to the southeast, there is the graveyard, there is the riverbank, and then there is the area with the bone tower. Above that, the narrow strip of blood bog, and then the area where these fiends seem to be gathering. So you know that they're in close proximity to each other.
Circle, like counterclockwise.
I lost that first bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I said the gamer in me wants to run counterclockwise. So go southeast to the tower, go up to the blood bog, go to the left to the fiends, just make a circle.
If you're at 10 o'clock now, yeah, you could do that. And I would even say, because you know the geographic stuff, the tower is close to 2 o'clock on the opposite side, and then pretty much a dead midnight is the the fiendish location. You know that it's closer to go clockwise, but that you have to cross through more of the blood bog to do that,
It is.
which is of course an option, but whatever you guys deem is your priority.
Yeah, about to say, Corbin gives the cliff notes for that whole thing, and Wells.
Also, I forgot
not
to
good.
mention that because you are the fathers, I like to think the plant looks like this. It just seems funny to me now. They were saying really scary, serious shits, so I didn't want to do that then, but I just think that's funny.
Well, right afterwards, that's what that fucking sounds like.
So am I gathering that if we kill one of these lesser entities, that it will summon the pit fiend?
No, you sort of gather that if you can kill the fiends, but the thing in bringing them here is still a monk. So you feel like you have to sort of stop it from.
Right. But if we killed the bone devil, would that cause his alarm to go off and come running? Like, isn't that what you just said?
The plants seem to believe that they're all coming. The devils are gathered in the same area. So if whatever, the Arius, the bone devil, the things that they're talking about are probably in the same location.
I guess what I'm imagining is the main guy is hiding in his ivory tower,
I think so too.
Essentially.
and if we killed one of his underlings, that might make him come out. We wouldn't have to go through this dangerous tower. No,
I'm a little worried.
isn't that what attracted him to V?
I would argue not necessarily. I think that I stumbled upon his, and I don't know, my level of recollection I think is going to give me enough of this to say that I think I stumbled upon his ceremony versus being part of it, and that I just happened to kill the thing he was summoning. Like, I don't think that it was that me killing it brought him back. I think it was that I was just there, and when it died, he was like, "What is this guy? Screw you."
I think use instinct is probably right in that regard. Use instincts.
Use instincts.
It's kind of he was still somewhat present in the space when the pit fiend. He wasn't magically pinged like, oh shit, this thing's happened. But that said, it could really go either way. I don't know enough about the entity and what it is in relation to these fiends. Unless you guys have any further business here, I think we're continuing down the path south.
I think it's what I want to do. I don't want to screw around like trying to explore the region anymore. Like I think if I recognize that this thing's the thing that killed me, I want to just start heading towards it to see if I can figure out what's going on or how to kill it.
I do think it's wise to take out its minions before we go to it to fight it. 2 less things it can bring to bear upon us.
Also a good point.
But it would drain our resources that much more.
Also.
Unless we want to go stop back at Grandma Chernobyl's house.
We may have no choice but to recuperate in betweens.
That's Grandma Beastmaster Chernobyl. Thank you very much.
And then, like I said, I guess if by taking out the underlings, if that would draw his attention, we may not be able to rest? Question mark.
It's all
I
sort of a
tried,
state of
and
unknown.
and I died. So take that how you will.
Well, I have some theories on why that happened.
That was much politer about it.
Davos over here like, I think you were caught lacking, bruh.
It sounds like we're fucked, regardless of which way we do. I do think it is best to kill the fiends while we can. He may not come out. It may not come out.
But wouldn't he be able to summon more fiends too?
Not if we get to him in times.
That's my exact arguments. I rolled up on him summoning a fiend. I don't know like what it takes for him to do that because I didn't see the whole ritual. I just know that I had to fight one, and then he bailed, and then came back and killed me.
Can
If it
we?
would
And he
be
had
of
enough magic
comfort.
left over to power word kill you after summoning a fiend.
Can we?
If it would provide you
can
some
you-
comfort, I will allow Davos to roll a religion check at advantage, or an arcana check. In fact, you also, I would allow to roll an arcana check.
And I don't know that I would remember this granular level of detail, but I think I would convey to them like it's not just that he killed me with a word. It's that I cast a high level spell and he dispelled it like it was nothing. And then he killed me with a word.
And,
That's true.
and
I got a
so-
21 on Arcana.
21, very good. What do you got, you? And then I'll tell you guys
17.
what you got. 17. On a 21, Davos, you know that summoning fiends from the underworld, from the Nine Hells, particularly powerful fiends like the ones you're talking about, Araneses, pit fiends, bone devils, these are very powerful devils. To do that typically takes time. It is not something you can do as an action, for example. It is a ritual that's going to take somewhere between several minutes and hours. You don't know the details on the specifics, but it's not something that is easily done. Something that does draw, since you've gotten over a 20, something that does give you a moment of pause is Gulbran mentioned that the planes are not thinned here. They are not connected to the hell. And that is a little curious because by all accounts, it seems like this thing is summoning devils from hell. The fact that the land doesn't seem to sense the proximity of the realms being closer, being thinned, is means that it might be something else. That's a little curious. That's not, there's no apparent answer from that, but it just strikes you as odd.
Gotcha. I don't know if that sways me one way or another about what to do, though.
No, yeah. You could always start heading toward one and see what you can learn. Getting closer to it will provide more information.
Goldbrand says we're fucked either way. And if I'm gonna get fucked, I prefer to look at my fucker in the eyes.
At least take me to dinner first. My biggest question mark is like how
Is that the
quickly
quote
could
of
the
the session?
fiends...
God damn it.
How quickly could the fiends get to where we're going? Like, if we manage to dodge them, right, and just head straight towards whatever's going on, like, they just gonna appear there? I guess powerful magic could summon them there. But if it's an idea where we're killing like the mini bosses on the way, I'm down. Whatever.
Yeah, you get the sense if you go clockwise from where you're at, you would encounter them before the bone tower. That said, they seem to be very close in proximity to one another.
Let's just.
See, I almost talking about it, want to go the other way, go straight to the guy.
But I'm
Yeah,
so,
you could go counterclockwise and pass by the graveyard and go up that way. Yeah, both are options. All roads lead to Rome. I'm not
so
railroading
afraid
you,
if
but the
we
roads
don't-
lead to the same place.
Yeah, I'm so afraid if we don't take care of them, we'll regret it later.
So I guess meta-wise, what's worse? How quick could he summon 5 existing fiends versus could he create 5 fiends after we kill 5 and then we would have just done nothing but delay a day and possibly resources if we don't rest?
I don't know. Counter argument. I think that we would get the opportunity to rest, and also, I think it makes sense to kill them potentially. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't want there to be an opportunity for him to summon them to his location because he summoned them to this plane, and then us be hosed.
Yeah, you sort of get the sense this is the thing that is summoning the demons. It is the thing that is making these corrupted undead. It is in many ways responsible for the darkest things in this wood. There are naturally dark things within this wood.
from its creation side effects. But this is the thing that is bringing in most of these dark forces. You gather that many of them might have taken time and resources and effort for him to bring into creation. So killing them cannot hurt. It does take away his goons, as it were. That said, you have no way to know exactly what he has up his sleeve. If there's other things with him in the tower, if there's,
I think if we were arguing this out loud, I would explain. Well, I fought one of these practically on my own with Tabitha, and we managed to take it down. Surely there's nothing to be afraid of.
All right, so I think Goldbrand,
Is enough
you,
wafflings.
and I would be the third. Take out the minions first.
Okay, I was about to put it to a vote, but if
Sounds like 3. Arc, Pandora.
I'm more. I don't know. I'm more on the field of like, let's just go to the guy and like just take care of whatever's there. But I feel like it all kind of leads to the same outcome. So
Maybe we would also, by fighting the minions, have a little better idea what we're dealing with the main baddie.
Or we can split the party.
Fuck no.
yeah,
We did that
No.
once.
Genuinely, though,
And
my
we got
thought
rocked.
process was he said that, and it could not do anything, but my thought process is like, if these things are causing some of the weirdness, like the disparity in the woods, like some of the gross summonings and monsters and stuff, if we kill them systematically, maybe it opens parts of the woods that are safe to be in for short periods of time, where you could take rest and you can sort of systematically free the wood from this grip that's holding it before you go take down the big guy.
That is a good point too, because you're looking at right now. Maple's home is the only safe spot you know about. You also have the Wyvern. It is technically not in the wood; it is floating above the wood. So y'all could go back to that clearing and get on the Wyvern. You have 2 points of safety that you know of. But if you bypass all this stuff to get to something and fight it, and you're pretty seriously fucked up, then you have to get back by all the scary stuff you passed, try to get to a point of safety. So certainly doesn't hurt.
I thought is clear parts of the wood like it's a dungeon, and just we have safe spaces in between now. We can sort of inhabit those temporarily while we recover, and then continue on. That's what I want.
yeah. We can.
Pandora, did you have a vote?
Oh, I was following Captain.
Yeah, she's just
No?
She's just
So-
saying what it does.
That is technically 2 votes to just go straight to the tower. Brandon, yeah, I feel like you deserve the chance to change your vote if you want to. I know.
I don't know. I'm
what you
rethinking
originally-
it now. Clearing
It's not-
the woods of the dungeon might be better.
Throw my arms up. Indecisive Captain.
Accurate.
Y'all-
I'm trying to think of this oath-wise.
If y'all are not opposed,
look
let's
at-
go kill some fiends.
I look at the rogue and like there might be more to steal in the general
Okay.
forest than there would be in the tower.
Based
Nothing.
on your understanding
Yeah.
from the plants, Skullbrand, you could either go past the graveyard, past the undead, past the river, past the tower, and then go fight the fiends. Or excuse me, past the tower, past a little bit of the bloody bog to fight the
Oh,
fiends. Or you
I'll
could
go
cross
10
the
to
long
12.
seg. Or if you do 10 to 12, then it's the briars, and then the larger stretch of the bloody bog, and then the fiends.
What do you think, y'alls? We take the long way around and try to catch them from behinds, or we slog through fucking wilderness to get to where we're trying to go? Might have something to help with that, but I need to think for a minute.
Long way might be better.
I vote long way.
I think they made a song about that. Take the long way home.
Something democracies. Alright, let's take the long way.
Something horse with no name.
I
How
can
many
control
roads
the
does
weather
that park
too,
have?
if we need to. If it starts raining, I can make some sunshine on a cloudy day.
Thought I might have had something, but I think the spell's called Show the Path, and I don't think I have that.
The sun will come out tomorrow. The path would be like, "What the fuck? What do you want to do?" And then
Yeah, let's go.
So I think I heard 2 votes for long way, maybe 3 votes for long way.
Yeah, I'm down. some other people start speaking up to go that way, I was down.
If we have at least 3, then we're good there. We are gonna head that way. I'm just gonna move you guys as a group. Y'all return down through the crossroads, down into the city of Zelbros. Pandora accidentally falls in the well. No.
I die instantly.
Pandora would be the least likely to fall in the well. By the way, if y'all failed the Constitution save when getting that luck stone out, y'all would have got sewer rot, which is a disease that's not fun. So I just throw that out there.
What?
You guys
in
make back.
Elden Ring?
Actually,
Disgusting.
Elden Ring. You guys would also know, as Yuan passed through here, he would tell you that the TP to the north of this area was the remains of Hawthorne, that deadwood Trent that he freed out. So you're recognizing stuff as you're going. You see your own bloody footprints in the muck as you continue on your way and come back to the graveyard. Y'all have a choice here. Oh, and it's beginning to get late, both IRL and in the world. I would say now it is approaching dusk. You guys could try to sneak past the big old corpsey dude. You could try to fight the big old corpsey dude. You do also know that there's a cave just north of you now that has something in it. It smells stanky. It might just be where corpsey dude lives. Can't really say for sure. But I need everyone to roll one more d20 for me. Gobran, you have not found any creatures, so you still possess that paranoia. No, I mean, it's funny. There's like a 12% chance every time, but only one so far. That's okay. How do you guys want to do this? Do you want to try to sneak by the thing? Do you want to try to fight it head on?
I feel like we can take it.
More resources that we use.
One for take it. I don't know what that was, Devin. Not take it.
I think worst case we try to sneak and get found out and then fight it. Maybe we should try to reserve our resources if we can. Try and sneak.
Okay, one sneak, one fight.
It's not
Yeah,
a
we
bad
can try
call.
it.
You try to
Let me
sneak. If you
see.
fail, then you just fight.
Let me see how many spell slots I have real fast.
Most-
Plenty.
I think it's probably worth popping past without a trace for this journey. Just try to get us as far as we can to where we're trying to get to go.
Okay, that sounds like a vote overall for sneak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take
Okay. Cobran's gonna go ahead and pop that pass without a trace. Everyone roll a stealth check. We are gonna stop here in just a bit, but I want to see what point we get to.
A bit. Joey time.
I got a
It's like an hour and a
13.
What if I? Dang, too late. Jeez, Pandora.
39. Excuse me. Pandora's pushing 40 over here. Jesus. Aren't we
Rolled
all?
a 6.
16.
Oh,
Thank
don't
you,
say
thank
that.
you. Yeah.
Bleh. Okay. 16 is the lowest.
To be
I'm
clear,
missing
I
one
was gonna
for
try to
travel?
cast invisibility on myself, but
I got a 13.
Is that with the plus 10?
No, it'd be 23 with the plus 10.
Nice. Okay, that's actually pretty solid. Let me look at what area is this area for. That's pretty solid. Let me just check this one more time. Yeah, you all pass, even with that 16. It's close. You were very close. It was a 15 to not be noticed by this thing. So you guys make your way through the graveyard, and you see this hulk. You get a closer look at it as it's doing its patrol around the graveyard. This absolute brute of corpses, and all of these corpses are still alive individually, but they are this one mass. This is called a zombie.
Anybody play
clot.
Last of Us 2?
No.
Okay, there's a monster. Reminds me very much of this description.
This is called a zombie clot, C-L-O-T, which I think is disgusting. I love that. So I have to share that with you. Was really hoping it would fight it, but that's okay. You might come back. You guys make your way into another area, and you begin to see a few scattered corpses. Skeletons and bodies in various states of decomposition. you would recognize this as the area where you saw that weird bear-like creature with the two mouths. You also have passed without a trace of. I want you all to roll another check, a stealth check for me, and then I need everyone else, then I need everyone again to roll just a flat d20. Don't roll a 1.
Good lord. Okay.
Another stealth check.
That's nasty.
12 sucks. I'm mad.
44.
Guys
God
passed
damn
without
it,
trace.
Barbara.
I got a 14 without pass.
So 24 for Davos.
So,
Roll 19.
is that
or I got
2
a
for this
19.
round, Goldbrand? That 2 for
Mm,
12?
Yes.
Okay. I see 1, 2, 3. Brandon told us his. I'm missing 1 stealth check, aren't I? You won? Is that you?
No, I rolled a 9 for a 19.
A 9 for 19. Oh, I see it. What's that? There we go.
Yeah, I got 18.
For a low of 12. I'm sorry, I actually gotta look up its stat block real quick. It won't take but a second. I say taking several seconds. You guys are making your way through this clearing. And it is a hunting ground of sorts. You see these bodies all over the place. You see the river to the far east over here. I'll just move into it real quick to show you the riverbank that Yuan was talking about. And you're making your way fairly cautiously. Goldbrand, the voices and not the voices, but just the feeling that you are being watched is just absolutely intense. You cannot fully focus on what you are doing, and you end up picking a bit of bones on one of these corpses and causing a slight scatter of bone on stone. And you hear a stirring within the woods in the southeast. And leaping out of these woods is actually, it's not even leaping, it's charging from these woods, provoked at the slightest hint of activity. I'm going to make this big so you guys can see it. This thing is horrific. It's large in stature, probably 8 to 9 feet tall. You see that its body, its limbs are elongated and have these white, wispy stalk spikes coming out of its body. Its nails black, ram's horns pulling from outside of its skull where its eyes should be and twisting down and around. These twin yellow maws, one on its face and one on its stomach, both screeching and bellowing. And you recognize that sound earlier that was not quite panther and not quite natural. This thing is nightmare incarnate, and it is racing toward all of you. That
He's whipping his cock out.
is where we're gonna call the session. God damn it, Brandon. This we are going to wrap up the session for the night. Thank you very much for everyone joining us for session 2. We are going to do the same time next week. Very much looking forward to it. Can't wait to see these fuckers get shredded by a homebrew legendary monster. So that's going to be fun. And with that, I think we'll bid you guys good night. Join us next